Summer Olympics in 2028. France President Emmanuel Macron has announced plans to deliver more long-range cruise missiles and bombs to Ukraine. The announcement came during his first primetime news conference to share his top priorities despite not having a majority in parliament. The Constitution doesn't allow Macron to run for a third consecutive term in 2027. Recent opinion polls show French people are worried about inflation, health, and education systems and security. Macron also said he would find ways to work with former President Trump if he does win the 2024 election. The World Health Organization says 1 in 5 people smoked in 2022. CDC reminds us that's compared to 1 in 3 at the turn of the century.
But it's not for lack of trying on the part of the tobacco industry. The WHO says company representatives offered travel and technical support to countries attending next month's WHO conference on tobacco control in Panama.
WHO warned while smoking rates are declining in most
tobacco-related
deaths, we're expecting to remain high for years to come.
What kind of net worth does he have?
More than 8 million people each year. We'll take a look at the 110 freeway when we come back. All right, so about Saddleback Eye Center. That's where you get your eyes fixed by my doctor, Dr. Manger, over at Saddleback Eye Center. He did a beautiful job with my eyes. He can do the same thing with yours. Now they're offering the Laser Light LASIK exam. That's right, the Laser Light LASIK exam. Use a laser right there in the title to perfectly map your vision. The Laser Light LASIK exam helps my doctor, Dr. Manger, give you crystal clear vision. So I can give away a Laser Light LASIK exam to the first 14 callers only. Then they got to cut it off. So please, be one of the first.
I'm in agreement. Oh, for the amount of time it's been, what, live for 2 years now?
Maybe you failed on some other one. Put this in the column of you're going to do it. And get your eyesight back. You're going to have more.
I'm in agreement with you on that, my man.
No glasses, no contacts anymore. You're going to be
right.
So here's the phone number you need. First 14 callers are going to get this exam for free. For free. Here we go. 866-559-4444.
Agreed.
866-559-4444. 866-559-4444. Clouds and fog and cool overnight. Lows under 50 degrees. Sun clearing by midday tomorrow and a few degrees cooler. Then a few degrees back up on Thursday with the chance of some rain for the weekend coming in. 58 in Newport Beach, 68 in Diamond Bar. There's a car fire in South Pass.
This is on the 110, making their way northbound just past Orange Grove, where the 2 middle lanes are blocked. I think there's only 3 lanes there to be.
Take care, my man. So, have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you soon.
Or the middle and the right, town 250.
Best wishes. Take care, baby.
Traffic, you can always let us know. Anyway, it's
shout out to Odd. You like him again? Why don't you want to get into this point? Hybrid function. Oh, it's simply there. Well, by default, it has to have it, right? I don't know.
Through the birds with the 57. It does loosen up quite a bit, and then you're back on, leaving the 71.
Right? I'm over by default. You have deflation. You look at inflation, right?
Now, if you're heading north to the 15, up to the Cold Pass. 15 northbound.
It's like, why would I want to raise my car?
138. Mike O'Brien, KFI in the sky.
So that I can lower. Why would you want to increase the way for so you can lower it?
KFI in the sky. Help get you there faster. I'm Angel Martinez.
If you're thinking of selling your home, visit directbuyers.com. That's directbuyers.com. This is Jacob Emrani. If you've been in an accident,
you think this guy sucks dick?
24 Jacob.
Yeah.
Are you a business owner?
I think he does.
Or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new
aside from your own, have you ever seen somebody sucking a dick?
Than anyone else. And we can give you
and I wasn't fucking a chick bug. So not, let's just keep it put, not involving me.
We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. From your cell dial pound 250
so maybe like boning dudes. Why they suck their husbands?
New year, new yard. Hey, it's Stepper March, and I've got a deal for you. The holidays are over. It's now time to relax with an outdoor remodel by System Pavers. System Pavers designed.
I mean, mine, of course.
Patios, outdoor kitchens, turf lawns, and now decking. That's right,
you
decking.
Can't think of a time you've ever seen a guy get blown.
10% on your entire project. Call 800-PAVE-004 today or visit systempavers.com/radio.
All orders must be placed by January 31st.
I've seen people have
See
it.
website for details.
I've seen orgies and stuff like that.
Did you know that you could lose your
Yeah,
nursing,
I've seen
teaching,
that.
or
I've seen
real
that.
estate license with a
No, I
DUI?
wouldn't have.
What about your job?
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
attorney Gary
Anyway.
Cavanoki, founder of
But no, I've never
1-800-NO-COPS.
just seen randomly.
What
It's
you
like,
don't
oh,
know can
yeah, I
and
have.
will
I saw
hurt
it go
you. Call
push back.
1-800-NO-COPS. That's
You don't have
1-800-NO-COPS.
Really? I think so.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria,
So she's just
pollen,
blowing
and
this
yes,
thing?
germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and
Okay,
out
dog.
of the other nostril. Navage
Yo.
shuts out viruses,
Look at this
and
move.
other airborne particles. All the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this
Okay,
winter.
back
Take Navage, the
to
drug-free
your thing.
solution that helps you
And check and see if
breathe
anybody
easier,
said
breathe
hi.
better,
And they look.
Hey, you know, even like Dwight's
Oh, I
desk
love
was
your.
auctioned
I love
off.
your. Thanks for the
Did
follow.
you not get your bobblehead?
I got one of the rejected bobbleheads that doesn't look anything like the bobblehead. I did not get my original bobblehead. No.
I see. That's
And I have to go shape for the painting, the Dwight painting that's kind of where he's like Chairman Mao.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen either.
Well, Rain, you know, you've gone on to do so many awesome things, but we would love to talk to you about your podcast, Metaphysical Milkshake. I listened to a great episode last night when you had Mike Schur on.
Yeah.
And that was so amazing, just talking about what is good, what is bad. And he sort of like folded in his show, The Good Place, into that episode. But you and Reza are so thoughtful, and you're really asking life's big questions, and it's a great listen.
Yeah, thanks. Well, you guys know this is something that's always been really important to me, and it was kind of the impetus and inspiration for starting Soul Pancake, the digital media company that I created with some friends. But this whole idea of life's biggest possible questions has always really intrigued me. You know, I took philosophy in college, and I love, you know, studying spirituality, and I love, you know, psychology and sociology and kind of creativity and how creativity works and why. And so this was kind of the foundation for Metaphysical Milkshake. Our first season we did on this company called Luminary, but that didn't really work out. So now we're doing a second season, which is available wherever podcasts are available, and including a lot of the stuff we did for our first season. And it's super fun. We get to talk to just artists and thinkers and writers. We just yesterday interviewed Avi Loeb, who's the head of the astronomy division of Harvard University, talking about alien life and discovering extraterrestrial life. And then we had Jason. Speaking of Office Auction, Jason Isbell is one of my favorite kind of country rock.
I love him.
Yeah, he's so great.
Yeah.
He came on the show talking about like what music is, like where does music come from.
Oh, I need to go listen to that one.
He bought years ago. He bought his wife white scissors from the NBC auction.
Wow. Oh my.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. Well, Rain, I listened to your interview with Adam Grant where you discussed this concept. What if I'm wrong? And this idea, our resistance as people to consider that you might be wrong. Or even what I loved when you guys talked about how when you know you're wrong, but the cost of admitting you're wrong, that idea of like, there's that social cost. Oh no, if I admit I'm wrong once, people will paint me with a brush that, oh, that's the person who gets things wrong. I mean, it was so thoughtful. I love that kind of introspective discussion that makes me think about things that maybe I wouldn't have thought of otherwise. It's a great podcast.
You know, I'm glad you brought that one up because I feel like this is kind of where our country is very stuck in two sides that are convinced they're 100% right, and no one's really talking to each other and learning and listening from each other. And when you go to life's biggest questions, these are the questions that we've been asking since the caveman days, since ancient Greece. You know, why are we alive? Do we have free will? What's the meaning of it all? And these discussions can unite us, you know, so that's really the whole purpose, is to unite people by getting young folk thinking about, talking, wrestling with, the human experience.
Well, Rain, at the end of your podcast with Reza, you guys do this sort of rapid fire of questions. And I love when you ask people, when do you most feel connected to the universe? I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that question, right? So when do you, Rain, feel most connected to the universe?
Wow, you're hitting me with my own weapon. That's what she said. That's a profound question.
Oh, I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
Providing me the opportunity to be on this stage and say, fuck you, Klaus Schwab, and fuck your New World Order. We, the people, were born free. We will stay free. And you and all of your globalist friends, including everyone in this room, can go fuck yourself.
This isn't.
And I appreciate.
Yeah, you were a little slow on that. A lot of people didn't have to have
They'd never know this.
lawsuit to know that made no sense. It doesn't make me feel better.
So, I'm not the only guy in my family that's been sued for tens of millions of dollars.
That before. So I meditate. That's part of my.
He gave a speech at the Emmys. Great comment. That almost cost NBC $25 million.
National treasure.
Yeah.
Why?
Here is the speech that they almost had to write a huge check for.
I'm not very good at actually thanking people, but I did receive a telegram this afternoon that I just like to pass on to you. It means a great deal to me. Dear Tim, we know this is your day, but we hope you'll take a few moments to think of us. Our thoughts are with you always. Love, the gang at the Tarzana Pitch and Putt. Hey, fun for the whole family. Now featuring the new Mark Twain hole. Complete with paddle wheel and recorded music of the Old South. Take a break at the 19th hole. And try one of Andy's U.S. Open chili dogs. Good. Hole-in-one gets you free beverage of your choice. Small size only.
One day, okay. So, all right. So he did that speech. They cut out the part where he could have got sued. What he did, Ernie Anderson, who my dad was good friends with in Cleveland, Ohio, and my dad and Ernie came out. They worked together in Cleveland, and then they came out to LA to try to make it in children together. So he was his best friend for many, 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 many years up until Ernie Anderson passed away. And Ernie Anderson's son happens to be Paul Thomas Anderson, and there's that connection. So Ernie Anderson said, hey, give me a shout out if you win the award. And my dad thought he had no shot at winning it. He said, if I win that award, I'm going to give you a shout out. So at the end of that telegram he was reading for Tarzana Pitch and Putt, he gave out Ernie Anderson's home phone number.
Oh, that's great.
Call us here, 818-980, and I remember the rest of the number, but I can't say it on the air. Yeah. 818-980, pop. So he gave it out twice. Unfortunately, he missed the last number by one digit. Oh. And he gave out the number to a real estate office in Tarzana. And they got thousands of calls. It said they ruined their business. They went out of business, which I don't know if I buy that or not. And they sued NBC for $20 or $25 million. That's what they wanted. And they got lawyers behind it, and it was out there, and it went to a trial, and they settled out of court for a big screen TV and an apology.
Wow.
And so it was very nerve-wracking around the house for a long time.
Intense. That's a great story. It's such a funny bit. I mean, it's a big-time funny bit.
It's great.
Yeah.
Until you get to the phone number.
Right.
And then that's where the problem came in.
On a side note, playing your dad, you really hear the similarities in your two voices.
Oh, that's great. He thanks you. That's, if I was at my dad's house when I was younger and my sister called, I could be my dad for 10 minutes on the phone. Hey, Cal, how are you? Oh, that's great. Look, why don't you come by? We'll have dinner at the house. Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, I love you too. You knew when you were getting older and you were starting to become a grown-up when people would get you confused with your dad, because I had the same thing with my dad. Oh, is that right? Yeah, people would go, Marshall? And I go, no! Yeah. Oh, but before then, it was like, hello! Yeah. You know? But now my sister, Kelly, and my dad had a secret word, a code word, that they used so they knew that it wasn't me, it was actually my dad that she was talking to. And since my dad passed, my sister still won't tell me that code word.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
That's funny.
I heard that, Angel. Still won't give me that code word. Man, I have to come down to Long Beach and key that Prius. It's be back here by 6:30.
Wow.
All right, we're live on KFI. It's Conway and Thompson. More now with Crows. Jury selection has begun in the trial for the co-founder of the Grossman Burn Foundation, who's accused of murder for a hit-and-run in Westlake Village that killed 8 and 10-year-old brothers in 2020. A bipartisan deal in Congress has been announced
Tennis club in this new little town that I moved to, California, and I've been playing a lot, 2-3 times a week, and there's something really incredible about the game of tennis because it requires such focus that when you're playing it, you're just completely in the moment. You have to be completely in the moment or you will screw up and hit the ball out. So it forces a kind of like a focus, and that allows one to be like connected. When I'm playing tennis, like time doesn't really exist in the same way that exists in my regular life. My anxieties go away, and I know that's not a terribly profound one, but I have truly been feeling connected to the universe through tennis.
I think that's great because I think for me, I have to get out of my head sometimes and get in my body. You know, when I get nervous or anxious about something, I stop everything. I put screens away. You know, I love tennis as well. But I like to just get in my body somehow, whether that's a hike or just going on a long walk, just anything to just get back in my body and get out of my head. And I just love that. Rain, do you remember working on my serve with me on the side of our sound stage? I had my racket and I was telling you I was struggling with my serve. And so we went to the side of the building where the hair and makeup trailers were. And you had me work on my toss. And then I would hit it onto the side of the building. And I didn't. And you told me my toss was horrible. It was like all about my toss. My toss wasn't high enough. Did you feel connected to the universe as Rain told you your toss was horrible, Angela? I felt frustrated, but connected.
It's so funny. Isn't it funny how it must be old age? I have no memory of that. But that's incredible. That's incredible. How is your serve these days?
You know what? It's much better. It's much better. I do toss higher, but I also throw myself at it in a way I didn't before. Maybe it's like being 50 and having, you know, like the past few years of like just like craziness. I throw myself at that ball in a way I haven't before. And my tennis coach is like, "I got some power there, Angie." He calls me Angie.
Nice. Wow, fantastic.
I'm like low to the ground, Rain. I've got a good torque.
It's so weird. You guys, what a pleasure being on your show, and thanks for the deep dive. And God, what an amazing pleasure it was watching Golden Ticket again. I think really that cold open too. The KGB and the knock knock jokes it was so good. There's so many classic Office moments throughout it.
Rain, I have to ask since you brought it up, how did you guys get through that cold open with slapping each other? I mean, because if you broke, you'd have to do it again. And obviously you didn't want to have to keep slapping and getting slapped. But, I mean, how'd you do it?
People always ask, like, how do you keep a straight face? It's like, I didn't keep a straight face.
You didn't, Rain. You didn't, because I watched the bloopers, and you were one of the top breakers.
I slap all the time, especially John and I. We would just make each other laugh. We could look at each other's eyes and know a laugh was coming. You know, I don't remember, but I am certain that especially that little last section when John was like doing the KGB, and I'm sure I was crying with laughter, and we had to cut, at least a dozen times.
I mean, listen, the bookend of this is that it starts with the KGB and it ends with the KGB and the tag, and you going back and forth with the time when he's like, I'm busy, and you're like, what's about 4:45? Like that. I was like, I know those guys were laughing.
Yeah, I'm sure we can fit you in. Yes, 5:15.
Oh, Rain, thank you so much for calling in and chatting with us. We love you. You are our most frequent guest on Office Ladies. That is your title. It belongs to you.
And we love you, Rain, and we love you. We love your heart. We love, you have such a heart for service, Rain, and I've always admired that about you. And we're just excited for folks to hear Metaphysical Milkshake, and I love it because then it's kind of like, you're in my bathroom with me. No, that's weird. I was listening as I got ready. But you know what I mean.
You guys are the best. Congrats on the success of Office Ladies. I hope it launches an Oprah-esque empire for the two of you.
Thank you.
We'll receive that.
We love you, Rain. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. I want to come meet Alma.
Yes, come over and meet the peacock.
We will.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I just love that fella.
I beyond love him.
I love him. Rain, thank you so much for stopping by. And now, lady, we got to get into this episode.
Let's do it. We've talked a little bit about this cold open already, but we haven't really broken it down, so let's get into it.
Pam is on the phone. She's trying to give someone like maybe a fax number.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out at 10 seconds, Nick is still in office all day.
in the note, in the post-it note.
There's the same post-it note from last week. It's on the Pin Star post-it paper. Nick in office all day. He's still there, folks. So Michael's going to come over and he's messing with Pam. She's trying to give this phone number and he's like 5-9-3-2, like trying to mess her up. She hangs up and she's like, Michael, that makes us look so unprofessional.
Yeah.
Well, he can't wait. He's been there because he has a really good knock-knock joke for her.
That's right. Knock, knock.
Who's there? Uda. Uda who?
Uda this bread for me.
And then he sits a stick of butter. It's been in his hand. It's not even in the wrapper.
I know. I'll have you know it was not scripted to be unwrapped. But on the day, we just thought that would be really funny. And originally, my line in the script, when I look at the butter and the everything on my desk, I was supposed to say, "You're making a mess." But I changed it to, "There's butter on my desk."
Yeah.
And I thought that was like such a great little find in the moment when we were rehearsing.
It's very Pam, though. It's like people leave trash on your desk.
All the
they throw
time.
things at you. It's just a statement. It's like resignation.
It is.
No, there's butter on my desk.
Now there's butter on my desk. That's my day today.
Well, Dwight is super excited about this knock-knock joke, and he wants in on the fun.
He's got a great one.
Yeah, and he's like, Michael, please. And Michael doesn't want to hear it. He's like, please. And I just feel like we got to hear Dwight's knock-knock joke.
Let's do it.
No.
Okay, Michael, please. Please let me.
All right.
Knock, knock. Who's there? KGB.
KGB.
Ask the question.
What the hell was that?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, stop it.
So then they just get like the slapping fest, and then Jim has to get in on it.
Yep. Do we need to hear that one?
No more knock-knock jokes. That's it. Ding dong. Who's there? Try to get the door. I'm not answering the door. No way, it's a KGB. I'm not answering that. It's you. You answer.
I'm not going to answer.
I'm not going to answer. It's the KGB.
The KGB will fit for no one.
It's true.
It's true.
And there's the "it's true."
And there it is.
Well, now we're going to start the main plot of this episode. Michael arrives to work dressed as Willy Wonka.
He's so excited. He points out the jelly beans. What are these? Pam's like, jelly beans? She's like, no, they're extraordinary jelly beans. He's like so ready for his performance. And he shares that he's put this golden ticket 10% off in different boxes of paper, and someone's going to get it, and their day is going to be full of whimsy and excitement and fantasy.
Here's what the golden ticket says.
What?
This whimsical promotion saves you 10% off your total order with Dunder Mifflin, Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's what it says. This whimsical promotion. In the conference room, Michael is just like already taking credit for his great idea. It's such a great idea. He needs everyone to come in the conference room and talk about how we need more good ideas like this one.
He says, and this is like something like people that do this crack me up. He goes, it might be the best idea ever in like the history of ideas. You're like, okay, buddy.
Here's what I don't understand. He's written on a board, marketing greatness, Michael. I didn't get it. It was very amusing to me.
Well, his job is to profligate great ideas.
I guess so.
He really wants the group, though, to tell them their golden ticket idea. He knows his golden ticket.
A golden ticket?
Yeah, Jim's like, well, we could rent out our trucks. He's like, no, Post-it notes, right? Golden ticket. NASA, lots of golden ticket ideas there. Andy's going to say Golden Girls and a few other things
that start with the word golden.
That start with golden.
Grams.
Look over his shoulder. Angela Martin, 1 minute, 59 seconds. Major eye roll at Andy.
Angela eye roll.
Yeah. She thinks Andy's an idiot, guys. She was only engaged to him just 2 seconds ago, but she's over it.
Well, now we're going to move to the kitchen. Andy and Kevin are at the table. Pam and Jim are over by the counter. And Kevin really wants to ask out Lynn. And he's just getting a lot of advice from these guys. Conflicting advice.
I have 2 background catches that just delighted me.
Oh,
all right. Number 1, these guys are both eating donuts.
I noticed that, and I swear to God, those are the donuts we got every morning. Because Kevin's donut is my donut.
The Sprinkles donut.
Yes.
And Andy had the powdered sugar. Okay, background catch number 2. I love it when our show does this, when it takes an object from a prior episode and pops it back into a new one. Ready?
4 minutes. I think I saw it too.
Kevin's coffee mug?
Yep.
Kevin's coffee mug is the same mug that Kelly gave to him at her customer survey party. You know, everyone's face and the big star. But what about Andy's mug? Andy's mug is the same one from Moroccan Christmas. And it was featured in the deleted scene I talked about when Jim and Pam decide to shop within the office for Christmas for each other because they're so broke. Jim goes up to Andy and asks him about his mug. And it's in the bloopers. It was also in the script. 2 coffee mugs from 2 prior episodes. I love that.
Well, later in this episode, if you look at Oscar's desk, he's going to have his America's Got Talent mug too.
Love it. Well, this whole Kevin and Andy and Jim and Pam storyline was much bigger in the actual shooting draft. There are a few deleted scenes and things I want to share. First of all, this is the scene that would have set up this whole storyline. It's at the beginning of the day, and they're getting in the elevator. Kevin, Jim, and Pam. And who rushes in at the last minute because she works in the Scranton Business Park? But Lynn. Can we hear it? Please. Okay.
Hey, Lynn.
Did you get my message?
Yeah. I've been really busy.
Oh. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be busy for the next 20 days or so. So, yeah.
Bye.
You're going to be busy for the next 20 days or so.
I thought you liked Lynn.
I do like Lynn. That's what Andy told me to say.
Aha! Right? So Jim and Pam are learning that Andy has been giving Kevin some pretty bad advice.
Yeah, he likes Lynn, but tells her, he didn't return her messages, and he's going to be busy for 20 days? Wow. That's amazing. Jim and Pam can't let Andy do this to Kevin, so they start giving him advice, right? Just ask her out. And in the deleted scenes, you really get a sneak peek into where Andy's brain is at. You got to hear this talking head.
I was raised to be a gentleman around women, but when your fiance is Satan, that doesn't work. So I have some new ideas and new techniques, and I'm trying them out. Kevin Malone is my guinea pig.
Aw, man, I wish that had stayed in. Doesn't that explain it all? It does. I mean, I think I was able to realize that the reason that Andy is being this way is because he's still reeling from his breakup with Angela, but that really would have been great.
I know, because I mean, I don't think Andy's a bad guy, but he's clearly hurt and acting out and using poor Kevin.
Well, listen, Jim's going to get a phone call now. Guess what?
What?
His client, Tom, has found a golden ticket. Tom from Blue Cross of Pennsylvania, our biggest client.
Uh-oh.
Oscar, how much is that going to cost us? Michael wants to know.
It's going to hurt a bit.
Well, what about this? Guys, Tom found all 5 golden tickets.
Holy moly.
Did they say one per customer? Nope. Our biggest client just got 50% off their total order with us.
I mean, this is a huge win. Talk about winning the golden ticket.
He won all the golden tickets.
He won all of them. This made me think, Jenna, have you ever won like a really big ticket item?
I don't think so.
I called my mom because I know my Aunt Anne has won things. Like, she signs up for, raffles and things, and she's won trips. Like,
really?
Yeah, she's super lucky. And I was like, Mom, doesn't Aunt Anne win a lot of things? And she said, well, your dad won a very big ticket item.
What did your dad win?
And I was like, Mom, what are you talking about? And she said, well, this was before you were born. And Jenna, this story just delighted me so much. One, because my dad's passed away, and so any new information, because you play every memory, you look at everything, but anything that you hear about someone you loved who's no longer with you, you just, it's like this beautiful, wonderful thing. So my mom said, oh yeah, before you were born, we had just moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, and the school was having a fundraiser, and they were raffling off a brand new pink station wagon. What? She said it had a cream white top, and your dad went and donated some money and signed up, and he won the car.
Your dad won a pink station wagon?
Yes, and she said, and it was a very good car, and we drove it for a long time.
Do any of your sisters remember this car?
I was like, my sister Billy said she remembers it. But I was like, oh my goodness. And my mom's like, I know we have a picture somewhere. I said, Mom, please. I have to see it. And she said, oh, Ange, your dad was so tickled that he won that car. He was so excited. And she said, and it was a light pink with a cream top. And they drove it around for years.
I love that story.
I know. It made my day.
I have been pitching for years a documentary series that I call Little Winners. And it is all about people who have won not the lottery, but raffles, and they get something like this car, or like a new recliner, or like a trip, right? And how did it affect their life? Well, Little Winners. No one will buy it from me. No one wants to make it. I pitch it all the time. Why will no one make Little Winners?
I love Little Winners. We could do it as a podcast and have the winner on. They could tell us all about it. Here's the thing. I like to think about my parents. They were young parents. They had 3 young girls at this time, and what that car meant to them. And then I also think about the car dealer there in Lafayette, Louisiana, and how the school, probably the superintendent, was buddies with the guy at the dealership and was like, what do you got that we can raffle off? And he's like, well, that pink station wagon, no one wants it. We can't sell it.
It's a write-off. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay, amazing. So Michael is spiraling out, though, because he's realizing Blue Cross from Pennsylvania getting this many golden tickets. He's going to get fired.
And Jim is upset, too, because that's his commission.
Oh, right.
Right? So Michael is going to storm down to the warehouse. I love the beginning of this scene.
This scene is brilliant. He goes barreling in going, hey, you idiot, to Daryl.
And Daryl says, start over.
So good. I was like, I'm keeping that. I am keeping that. The next time one of the kids has a moment where they're sassing me, I'm going to be like,
start over. Exactly. And then Michael comes back with, sir? That was all in the script. I looked that up.
So did I. Michael's like, Daryl, how could this happen? How could this happen? And he says, I put 3 pallets on the truck for Blue Cross every week. Where were you putting the boxes? Were they near each other? And Michael's like, I need to ask you something. I need you to be honest with me. What is a pallet? So good. So good. David Wallace is not happy. He calls. Pam takes the call. But Michael is sort of sneaking out of his office. He's taken off his Willy Wonka outfit. Yeah, he's getting rid of the evidence.
Yes, he's like, dude, I am not here. I am not here. So Pam has to say that he's at a civil rights rally at the Lincoln Memorial.
Which I want to point out is in Washington.
Yeah, he's gone to Washington, D.C., I guess.
And the same day, he's going to go to a civil rights movement in Washington, D.C. and get a colonoscopy in Scranton.
Exactly. Well, Michael tosses his Willy Wonka costume into a dumpster. He's now wearing a Pioneers football shirt. And I had to look this up. This is a minor league football team from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton that played in the AF2, and they had a really strong season in 2009 when we shot this episode. It's kind of like perfect that he's wearing this shirt because they only ended up losing 2 of their games that year. They made it to the playoffs. Then they made it all the way to the Arena Cup, which is like the Super Bowl of AF2 football. They ended up losing, but it was like a great, great season for them. They were kind of on a roll. Their previous season had been good as well.
I love it.
I love every time we have
every single time
these local references on the show in ways that don't even get mentioned.
Right.
We never even mention this shirt, but there it is, just creating specificity.
I love it. Michael's going to make an announcement. Everyone to the conference room. A lot of announcements in this episode. Yeah, a lot of announcements. He's really, I think, just trying to find a way out. He says he has a big net where he takes all of their subconscious ideas and tries to turn them into something. And Michael's like, guys, they're not going to fire us. We're fine. And Oscar's like, what do you call shutting down a branch?
And then Michael says, someone needs to come up with a golden ticket idea to get them out of this mess. You know? And Pam says, do you mean an idea that blows up in our faces later? Oh, that kind of idea?
That's some Pam sass.
That is some Pam sass. So while Michael's up at the top of the conference room, he's wearing a suit jacket. And I'm thinking, where did that come from? Because the last time we saw him, he was at the dumpster in his Pioneers football shirt.
Right.
I looked it up. It's Andy's jacket. He's wearing Andy's jacket, and there was a bit at the top of this scene that got cut where as they're entering the room, Michael says, Andy, give me your jacket. You can do something for me. I want your jacket. So that is why he's now wearing this odd jacket over his football shirt.
Well, he's got to still look like the boss.
The phone's going to ring now.
Not good.
It's David Wallace. Pam says Michael's having a colonoscopy. I'm not sure that David Wallace believes it.
Do you think? Because he was just in Washington. Michael gets on the phone with him and literally is reading off the procedure of how you give a colonoscopy off his computer.
It's pretty amazing. But now it is clear. David Wallace says, the company is going to lose a lot of money. How did you let this happen? Whose idea was it?
Someone's got to pay for this terrible idea. Michael tells David Wallace it was Dwight. Just so devious.
I know.
Oh, Michael.
It's like David Wallace is just naming people. And he says, was it Dwight? And Michael's like, yes.
Well, now Michael has got to convince Dwight to take the fall for him.
And so he's going to get out his diary and he's going to say, Dwight, I wrote it down that it was your idea. He tries to convince Dwight that Dwight is remembering wrong what happened this morning.
Now, Dwight runs to get his diary. It's like the dueling diaries where they're going back and forth. Michael realizes he's not making any headway with this whole diary business. So he says, would you like to go out to lunch with me? Just the 2 of us? Oh, and Dwight says, with all my heart. This scene continues in the script, Jenna. So after Dwight says, with all my heart, he says, but I already ate lunch. And Michael says, it's 11 a.m. Dwight says, as a farmer, I eat breakfast at 4:30. At 10, I'm famished for lunch. If you wait 3 hours, we can have supper. Maybe. Michael says, no. How about we do something else you like? Jenna, did you notice there are no scenes of them at the restaurant? They're supposedly going to have lunch, right? Because in the episode, Michael says, go have lunch. Yeah. We don't know that Dwight's already eaten. All of that's been cut out, right? And then the remainder of their scenes, they're on the side of the road.
They're taking a walk.
Well, here is a scene that was in the deleted scenes that I just love so much. Of all the things that Dwight would want to do, guess what he loves to do?
Go for walks?
Oh, lady, no. He likes a stroll.
Are you still taking those strolls that you like to take thrice weekly? Okay, let's go take a stroll together. I thought you said my strolls were silly. No, just because you can't call them walks. You really want a stroll? Yes. You want a power stroll or just a regular stroll? You call it. Power stroll. Okay. You wearing sunblock? Yes. What SPF? Why? That's like water. I'll grab my tube. Okay. Oh.
Oh, he loves a stroll. Clearly, it's like a whole thing with him and Michael about calling it a stroll or a walk. Then there's another scene where they're down in the lobby and Hank is there, and Dwight is putting sunscreen on Michael's face, and Hank looks up and deadpan says, "You found somebody to go on a stroll." And Dwight goes, "I did." And Hank goes, "Nice."
This is amazing because we got a ton of mail because people were pointing out Dwight's shoes in the scene when he is walking, aka strolling with Michael. Tons of people said, why does Dwight have on very white, very non-Dwight trainers? Like, where did these come from? And I looked in the script and it says Michael and Dwight are walking. Dwight is wearing sneakers and walks with his hands clasped behind his back. That was like a script note, but I'm sure it was all based on this backstory that Dwight strolls 3 times a week. He's got his sunblock, he's got his shoes.
He probably has a little bag he takes to work. Clearly, Hank knows how much Dwight loves the stroll and how he's been looking for a stroll buddy.
I love it. I love it.
I know, it tickled me.
Well, this stroll is not going to convince Dwight. Dwight says, I am not going to fall on my sword for you. It's not going to happen.
He's done it before. He's fallen on his sword, and it wasn't pleasant.
It wasn't.
Michael makes a pretty big speech to Dwight. He's like, listen, why would you want to stay here? You're cooped up. You're not even dating Angela anymore.
You have a whole farm.
Yeah. And he says, on the other hand, I would be lost without Dunder Mifflin.
And Dwight says, what about Shoo La La, Michael? This is a Mindy Kaling thing, for sure. This has Mindy Kaling written all over it.
And then Michael has a talking head where he says, I have an idea for a fancy men's shoe store called Shoo La La. And it's just men's shoes for the special occasions in a man's life, like the day that you get married, or the day your wife has a baby, or just for lounging around the house.
Yeah. Well, we got some mail from Kayla G, who said, I just want to let you ladies know that Michael seems to have gotten Shoo La La up and running in Nelson, British Columbia.
Oh!
And I looked it up, and sure enough, there is a Shoo La La. According to their website, they are a boutique shoe store offering exquisite leather footwear and handbags from all over the world. They are a family-run business that has been around since 1983.
Well, I want you guys to know that there is a Shoo La La in Lafayette, Louisiana.
I saw that too.
My town where I was born. Lafayette. And you know what? I love the slogan for their shoe store. If you go on their website, it's a clothing boutique and shoes. But their slogan is, life is short, buy the damn shoes.
That is amazing. So there are 2 Shoo La Las, Michael, but none of them seem to sell men's shoes.
Oh, well, I would love nothing more for Michael to have Shoo La La. Well, we have a great reverse talking head.
Yes, I noticed.
So Dwight is in Michael's chair, and you pull back to reveal Michael perched behind him. Basically, in this talking head, Michael's like, he's going to do it for me. He's going to do it. He's going to take the fall. And Dwight's like, no, I haven't decided. Well, folks in the office are starting to catch on. They get it. They know what Michael's doing. He wants Dwight to take the fall. and they start gossiping about it. There's a scene in the kitchen, you guys, that was deleted where Meredith, Kelly, and Angela and Oscar are all being real chatty, and Michael walks in and overhears a bit. And he's spying on them from the bathroom. Let's hear it.
Ladies, really, Drake gets married. I gotta hide you better. Seriously? What if it's a hot girl? I think it's horrible what Michael is doing. Really. I mean, this is unacceptable. Hey, did you ever notice that our bathroom is right next to our kitchen? How's that up to code? I don't know. This is not fair. He's doing to Dwight. Of course you think that he's the golden guy. I think I meant on women. Did I correct that? All I'm saying is that Dwight can't take the blame for this. It has to land on Michael. It's time for a reckoning. It's true.
Okay, these are the kind of slice of life. You brought it back. These are the kind of slice of life office moments that I love so much. Just the scuttlebutt. There's so much going on. Just the gossip and the opinions. You know, I loved this scene, and Michael overhears it, you guys. And there's a whole scene where Michael confronts everyone, and he really lets them have it. He goes barging into the bullpen, and he's like, "Hey, everyone, I need to make an announcement." And Jim is like, "This is a new record." And Michael goes, "That's because I have a lot to say today, James." He's ticked off. And then he goes around the room, and he's like, yells to the room, "Have you wondered what it would be like if I was fired?" And everyone, super happy, raises their hand. And Michael's like, "Damn it! I didn't ask for a show of hands. If I get fired and corporate brings in new leadership, you have no idea who might come." And then he starts singling people out. He says, "You have no idea how bad it could get. Maybe it would be someone who knows that we don't actually need 3 accountants." I remember shooting this scene now. Yes, it's in the deleted scenes. Then he looks right at Jim and Pam and he says, "Or let's couples work together without sending them to different branches." And then he has this moment and it made me laugh. He goes, "So, you didn't think about that, huh? So let's just bite our tongues instead of saying mean things about me when I pretend to be pooping in the bathroom, okay?" But it was a long speech, and he really just lets them all have it. I love this episode so much. I think Steve Carell just is brilliant in this episode. He's playing so many different things. We already talked about this with Rain, but I just absolutely love the Michael Dwight dynamic. I really loved this one. I did too. This was like one of those sleeper ones that we hadn't seen in forever. And we're like, oh my gosh, golden ticket. I agree. Golden ticket is a golden ticket. Well, now David Wallace is going to show up. He drove from New York, you guys. Yeah. David Wallace arrives at the office, right? And this is a serious thing. Yeah. He goes into Michael's office with Dwight. You could hear a pin drop. And he turns to Dwight and he says, "Dwight, I owe you an apology. Blue Cross was so excited about the golden ticket promotion that they have made Dunder Mifflin their exclusive provider for all office supplies." Huge! This is huge! And he puts his hand out to shake Dwight's hand. Michael is about to split in half. He's looking at Dwight like, "You better let him know it was my idea." And Dwight shakes his hand and says, "Thank you, David." And now all the power has been flipped. Amazing, amazing writing. They go out into the bullpen. Wallace tells everybody. Dwight gets this victory lap. Pam hugs him. I loved doing that. I loved it. And then Creed's like, "Way to go, kid." I know. Creed is like, sure, it was Dwight. Jim is giving Dwight credit, and they are all watching Michael squirm. And then David's like, "You know what, Dwight? You need to talk to the marketing guys in New York, in corporate. We want to hear more of your ideas, more of your brilliance. Pam, can you set up that call?" And Michael's like, "I could be in there." And he's like, No. You got things to do. Come on, Dwight. Being in that conference room for that phone call was a delight. This was one of my favorite things to do. We've talked about this. I loved taking notes during these comedic scenes. And, pretty soon, Pam isn't going to be the receptionist anymore. I know. And this was the part of the job that I missed the most. Getting to be in these ridiculous situations with Michael, being the note taker, because they're on the phone and Dwight is just saying ridiculous stuff. And of course, Michael bursts in.
Right, because it's really clear that Dwight doesn't know anything about
No,
Willy
they're
Wonka.
No.
They're definitely
And
dead.
call back to a deleted scene, but that we love, the toilet buddy.
That's right. This is a deleted scene from Job Fair. Remember, Michael comes out of the bathroom flustered because all the contents of his pockets fell into the toilet.
Yes.
And then he threw his cell phone in the toilet out of anger.
Yes.
And he says then that he had this brilliant idea about this mesh toilet guard cover. Now, Jenna, in the episode, Michael calls it the toilet buddy, but in the shooting draft, it was called the toilet guard. And I think in the moment, Steve called it toilet buddy because then he corrects himself as Michael. He goes, previously known as the toilet guard. Yes. So I think that's just Steve staying in the moment, but catching that he had flubbed a line.
And then Dwight mentions his idea called horse boat, which I love horse boat. You can go from riding to just being on the water. Yeah. And then Michael hits back with toilet sponge. I don't know what that was.
It's more absorbent. The toilet sponge. It's more absorbent.
So it's a toilet that's a sponge?
No, I think it's a sponge for your bum.
Oh.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
We're not sure.
He says it's more absorbent. That's what he says.
Now, lady, in this back and forth, this brought up a product that my friend Stacy and I invented in high school that we thought, we were convinced, was our ticket to being millionaires.
What?
It's called the tan baster. You know that thing that you wash your dishes with that you fill up with dish soap and it has a little sponge at the end?
Yes.
The tan baster is very similar, Angela. It has a little sponge on the end, but it's filled with sunblock. And you just baste it on yourself and your hands stay clean. The tan baster.
Or you could get spray.
Well, spray wasn't around yet, Angela. It hadn't been invented yet. You see, now we can go nowhere with the tan baster, but at the time,
it could have been.
There was a need, and clearly the spray has filled the need. But
and the stick. I love me a sunscreen stick.
Yeah, Ange, I get it. There's a lot of solutions today, but I'm taking it back to the 1990s when none of these things existed except for goopy sunblock, and we were solving a problem.
Yeah,
also,
I get it.
We had the whole television commercial, the whole infomercial in our head because you know who else could use it? Maybe older people who need to apply, lotions because they have arthritis.
Right, or maybe they lost range of motion and they can't reach some places.
Well, that was the other great thing about the tan baster. It was like a back scratcher. It could go down your back. See? Tan baster.
I think the name was part of the problem.
Why?
Because every time you say tan baster, I just think of a turkey.
Exactly.
On Thanksgiving.
Okay, let me take
brown
you back.
and crinkly.
With gravy. Let me take you back to the 1990s. This was again before we kind of knew about sun damage so much.
No, because you baste a turkey.
I know, and you baste your body. You're going to get nice and tan if you use the tan baster. You know what I'm saying? This is when people wanted that.
Right.
They weren't into sunblock for the SPF. Right? This is when you were still basically applying baby oil to yourself going in the sun.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay, well,
The toilet buddy, the tan baster. Stacy, I'm sorry, we never got it off the ground.
Oh, well, Stacy, somewhere you guys have a sketch of the tan baster, and I'd love to see it.
We do have a sketch of the tan baster. You know, I've been trying to work that tan baster into a lot of projects for you and I.
Baby, we're not going to have an office ladies tan baster. It's just not happening.
Okay.
You know what I want? Before we do a tan baster, I want a rosé, okay? I think more of us would use the rosé.
Let's put a poll out there.
No!
What do you want more? An office ladies rosé
Basters
or
is
an
fine.
office ladies tan baster?
You're
gonna go tan
Come on,
baster.
you shut
I
up.
knew you were going to say it, Sam. I knew it.
Why do you think I was going to
Novelty.
No, because a lot of the sprays and sticks have harmful chemicals in them, like aerosols and things that are bad for you. Cassie.
I'm team rosé.
Yay! Always gonna try one. Well, you know what? Let's drink rosé while we baste ourselves.
Is it possible to baste rosé into my mouth?
Hey! Rosé baster! Perhaps. Oh my word, where are we? Oh, you guys, we gotta check back in with Kevin and Lynn.
We do, because poor Kevin has been receiving a lot of advice this whole episode. And guess what? When he finally does meet up with Lynn in the parking lot, he does just fine being Kevin.
He says, I'm just gonna say everything I'm thinking. She has a great smile. He'd like to take her for dinner and a movie. She says yes. He's happy. And then he says, boobs.
And she's delighted.
Yeah.
Lynn just likes Kevin.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a lid for every pot.
There is. Dwight's advice to Kevin was just go be alive next to her. Well, it worked.
And finally, we have our tag, a final knock-knock joke, a ding-dong joke, really.
Yeah, we talked about this with Rain. This one is so hilarious because Dwight thinks he's going to get Jim back. And he does ding dong, and then Jim's like, you know what? I just got out of the shower. I need 1 second. And then, like we talked about, they go back and forth with like, well, I can come back. When's good for you? It's like so ridiculous. And that is Golden Ticket.
We hope you enjoyed. I loved this episode.
I did too.
And thank you, Rain Wilson, for coming on our podcast. That just gave me all the warm fuzzies for the whole day.
I really do want us to go over there. You know, we have an office text thread. We've talked about this, where the cast texts each other, and we have all invited ourselves over to Rain's. So Rain, and sorry, Holly, we're coming.
We are. You know, you told us sometime after Labor Day. Well, it's after Labor Day.
You remembered the date you told her.
That's right. Of course. I want to go. Well, guys, we will see you next week. Please check out Rain's podcast, Metaphysical Milkshake with Reza Aslan. We love you.
Love you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Office Ladies. Office Ladies is produced by Earwolf, Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey. Our show is executive produced by Cody Fisher. Our producer is Cassie Jerkins, our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico.
Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed Bratton. For ad-free versions of Office Ladies, go to StitcherPremium.com. For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
I thought I was like doing quite well.
Right, you didn't know you were broke. I get it. Okay, so you take.
It was at a petting zoo at Burning Man.
What? What is that? What is that? Okay. This is someone I did improv with. And I'll never forget, you know, she's kind of like a free spirit. And I was at the airport, this is years ago, and I see her running through the airport, and it looked like she had like, I don't know, she had like a carry-on, but you could see sort of like a onesie poking out of it. She's running through the airport. I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi. And she's like, so good to see you. And I was like, you too. She's like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to see my folks. I said, what about you? And she said, oh, I'm going to Burning Man. I'm in the petting zoo this year. And so I had to say, what's a petting zoo? She's like, well, you know, you dress up as animals and let people pet you. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought of when you said that. I did not know that. I mean, I found out that there's no such thing as a two-way petting zoo where actual animals pet the humans, but I did not know about this human petting zoo at Burning Man.
Did you think animals would pet humans?
You know what, lady? I didn't know. I admit, it was a weird Google.
Yeah.
But I did find this.
What?
Two-way petting zoo is apparently like a euphemism for describing like a really intense, passionate sexual encounter. Like you would be like, oh, me and my boyfriend had a real two-way petting zoo last night.
No, come on. Who talks like that?
I
But you
do.
are giving me flashbacks of like 6th grade sex ed, where like we had a coach teach us 6th grade sex ed, and he was like, Sometimes there's heavy petting. Sometimes you're like, heavy petting. Yeah. I don't know. Well, we don't know what Jim meant, but we know he's super embarrassed. Well, Charles has had enough. He wants to dissolve the PPC, effective immediately. This is where Michael completely flips out. And there was a deleted scene where he made a defensive argument to keep the PPC. Oh, we need to hear it.
The party planning committee is an institution in this institution. It is something that I incorporated in the mid-90s to celebrate the Laserdisc release of A League of Their Own. It has become a tradition here. It is something that is important to all of us. What did we do for League of Their Own party?
Make pizza of your own. Exactly. Make your own pizza. I didn't even work here then. I just heard the story.
Thank you, Dwight. That should take 5 minutes of one person's day.
Really?
5 minutes.
Yeah. and then that's where the scene picks up and he just goes off and he's like, you don't even know how paper is made. It's not like steel. You don't put it in a furnace. And he starts like to cry. And he shoves over a chair on his way out. That was not in the script. He has a whole tantrum. I remember. After Michael leaves, Jim is going to attempt to start over with Charles. Yeah. And this created Venmo Flurry! Number 2. Oh. A lot of people wrote in. This is a quote. I am so excited to finally get to discuss my biggest pet peeve in the whole series. Oh my goodness. What? At 16 minutes 40 seconds, Jim says, he's a great number 2 for The Office. And Charles responds by saying he didn't know that position existed. And then Jim kind of like tap dances and he's like, well, at first it was made up for Dwight, but then, Michael gave it to me. And kind of all ends with Charles being like, is this made up position important to you? Yeah. Well, people are PO'd. At who? Here's the thing. I mean, people sent in lists of evidence to say that this number 2 position that Jim holds is real. It is not a made-up position, and that Charles should know that. Here's the evidence. In branch closing, Jan is talking to Jim about going back to Scranton, and she says, quote, we'd like to offer you the number 2 position at that branch. In the merger, Michael is on the phone with Jan after firing Tony. He tries to blame Dwight by saying, bad advice from my number 2. And Jan says, Jim is your number 2. I sent you a memo about this. In the merger, Jim confirms to Dwight that the job comes with a pay raise. Oh, yeah. In Benihana Christmas, when Pam gives her Christmas gift to Jim, he turns it down, using, quote, his promotion as an excuse. Also in A Benihana Christmas, Dwight refers to himself as the ranking number 3, and he finally concedes to Jim's authority as ranking number 2. This is when, they're trying to validate the committee to plan parties, right? They get in this whole argument. In the return, Andy tells Jim, I'm thrilled to be working directly beneath you. And in Women's Appreciation, Dwight tells Jim, you may be second command, but that does not put you above the law. This is a real position. I agree with everybody that, yes, I think Jim doesn't present it well, and then he gets flustered. I think so too. By the way, great research, everyone. Yeah, I'm very impressed. Let me give a shout out to Laura K, Alexandra K, Cy L, Dan C, Emily M, and others. Well done. I like it. People were fired up. I like it. It was a fan mail blizzard. Yeah. Jim just can't win with Charles. There were more scenes where he just got busted throughout the day. One of them happened at front reception. Oh, I remember shooting this. Can we hear that?
He really doesn't like me.
But you look so dapper.
Thank you. I'm working so hard. I was hitting the phones. I closed the sale. I updated my contact list. What?
Hey, go tell him you updated your contact list.
I would tell him.
Are you busy for my other?
Really? Today? Like I don't have enough going on.
Sorry, have a candy.
Thank you.
Sweetie, do you mind getting out of your desk? I don't want him to keep seeing us together. Okay, when I had to say that line,
could you eat that at your desk? We could not get through that. That made John and I laugh so hard that Pam was like, could you just do that somewhere else? He also, which you guys can't see it, right? It's in the deleted scenes if you have the DVDs. When Pam says that, John as Jim looks at the camera like super deadpan, like, are you kidding me? I remember all of that. I remember it so clearly. Well, Michael's going to drive to corporate. He's going to confront David Wallace as he's leaving the men's room. This is a classic Michael move. I'm sorry, you guys, but Angela did that to me today. I did. I went to the restroom. Well, first of all, there's only one bathroom here and one hallway. Yeah. But you were right there, and you had this email you wanted to show me. So as soon as she came out of the bathroom, I was like, look at this. And I said, you just Michael Scotted me. Yeah. Anyway, David Wallace hears Michael out, and he's like, you know what? Look, you can have your 15th anniversary party. You can have the figs. Michael keeps talking about these figs. I know. There was a whole fig runner. What? Yes, in the script. I thought this was just like a random thing, and I was so tickled by it. I was like, what this is? Yes. Commitment to having figs. Yeah, so this would have been a callback to an earlier scene when they're doing all the party planning. One of the things Michael wanted was like bacon wrapped figs. Okay? And then remember when he started to spiral out to Charles Minor about canceling the party? He had this whole speech where he was like, there will be horse-drawn carriages, there will be pancetta wrapped figs, there will be break dancers. Wow. Yeah. So those are the figs. The figs. They've already arrived. They're arrived. What's he going to do with them? Exactly. So David Wallace says, I will come to your party. You can have your figs. I will move some money around and make it happen. But Michael says, he smiles and you think he's happy. And then he says, I quit. He quits. I was so surprised. It's amazing. Yeah. I have a real tangent to throw in here. Okay. I don't know if you noticed, but at the very beginning of the scene, David Wallace is drinking water out of a Fiji water bottle. It was really random to me because he's turned the bottle in such a way that you can't see the name facing you, but it's clearly Fiji water. And I was so confused because I thought they never let us do that. No. And I just wondered, was that he had been drinking some Fiji water and it ended up in the scene and he turned, because, was he, I don't know, it stood out to me. But it also stood out to me because earlier in the week, by coincidence, my family became fascinated with the origins of bottled water. So we're in this phase right now where our 10-year-old, if we're talking at dinner and we bring up something, he wants to look it up and find out everything about it. Wonder where he gets that. Well, we were discussing getting new water bottles for school, the reusable ones, and this got us on bottled water, and my son ended up doing a whole deep dive for our family on the origins of bottled water, and I thought I would share a little bit about it. Since what the coincidence that David Wallace is holding a water bottle, okay? This is my son's deep dive, and I find it fascinating, and I think you will too, even though you're not his mother. The first commercially distributed bottled water company in America was called Jackson Spa, and it was founded in 1767 in Boston. This was the question that launched everything, was who made the first bottled water? Right. It was Jackson Spa, and the people who drank the water thought that it held therapeutic properties because it came from like one of those mineral springs, a natural spring. One of the biggies, Arrowhead, was established in 1917. That's so early. I know. Arrowhead water is sourced from the mountain springs in California, Colorado, and Canada. It's bottled in California even today. Then we get up to Evian. That was not established until 1978, almost 70 years after Arrowhead. Their water comes from a spring in the French Alps. Fiji water, as held by David Wallace, comes from Fiji. But the big shift in bottled water came when Pepsi and Coca-Cola got into the game by selling purified water. Purified water is basically municipal tap water, which is then filtered using a process called reverse osmosis. Spring water is also filtered, but the reverse osmosis is what purifies it, I guess. That's the purified part. Then we all wondered as a family, what's the best water? purified spring tap. You know what it is? Guess. Tap. Nope. Spring. Nope. Purified. Yes. Purified water. The reverse osmosis makes it the most pure above filtered spring or tap. How about that? Pepsi and Coke were already using purified water as the basis of their sodas. So they would get water, they would purify it, and then they would add all the bubbles, and then they would add all the other stuff that you put in a soda. Yeah. And so it was really easy for them to just start bottling it, you know, before they did all the rest of it to make it a soda. Well, I think that's a fascinating deep dive. Well done. We are trying as a family to cut down on plastic. Super hard, you know, there's so much single-use plastic. That's right. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Exactly. And my husband just worked with this company that I find fascinating called Tetra Pak. Oh my gosh, I watched his video that he made for them, and it was great. It was amazing. They're putting water in everything you can imagine. And it just, if you start to notice what Tetra Pak looks like, it's like paper packaging. Yeah, and the only thing that's plastic, and it's like recycled plastic, is the lid. Yeah, it's the thing that like broth comes in. Yes. But coconut waters, I see. Box milk. Yep. Fascinating. Another factory that I want to go to. Let's go to the factory. I know. Okay. Well, back in our episode, Charles is going to leave for the day. He says goodbye. Angela runs over to say goodbye. And I loved the scene between Kelly and Phyllis in the kitchen. Kelly's putting on lipstick. She's like, I'm going to make him buy me a steak tonight. And Phyllis is like, first of all, I'm the only person here. Because she starts with you guys. I know. And then she's like, I think he already left. And Mindy, as Kelly goes barreling out, kind of knocks into camera. Do you see her start to break? Yes, I wrote it down. She started to laugh as she pushed through the door. I also want to say, Phyllis is drinking coffee at the very end of the day. It's pick-me-up. Just a little thing to note. Afternoon pick-me-up. Mm-hmm. Kelly bolts out to the parking lot, and Angela is out there holding Charles' scarf. In the rain. She swiped it. Oh, yeah. 100%. She swiped that scarf. She quietly plots, okay? Mm-hmm. Kelly is very out there with what her plans are, but Angela was secretly plotting. Mm-hmm. Shooting the scene was so much fun. It was actually raining. We had to time it out so that, you know, Mindy would come running out, and I would come around the corner, and we would see each other and then start yelling our scene at each other. And then they were like, we want you to chase after her and you run. So we like took off. I loved every second of doing these scenes with Mindy. You guys had to run in your heels. In our heels. On the wet pavement. I also remember talking to Paul Feig about, wait, how would Angela Martin run in this moment? You know? Oh, yeah. How does your character run? Yeah. And I had done Fun Run, but she was angry running, right? About sprinkles. But this was like, I had heels, and how would Angela Martin run? And these are small details, but they're so fun to like figure out. But this is what you do as an actor. You make these choices for how your character would do something that's different from how you would do it. Yeah. And then after this, I have this talking head. And then I have a talking head, but we did not film my talking head that day. So they had to try to match how wet my hair would have looked. Mm-hmm. They spritzed my hair with water. They put water on my face, let my mascara run down my cheeks. And then I had to deliver this monologue as if I had just run away from Kelly. So I was like winded. Now, let me ask you, before you started shooting, did you stand up and like do like a fake run? Because I've done that before. When I have to enter out of breath, I'll do like a little jog in place. I did not. Oh, that's all fake. You didn't need it. I didn't need it. I just did this. Kelly and Charles, absolutely not. He is a sophisticated man. He doesn't need to go dumpster diving for companionship. Okay? Wow. Thank you. That's really good. Thank you. That's really good. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, that is new boss, but Angela, there would have been something here. Those driving scenes. Yes. Michael driving away from his meeting with David Wallace. They're so funny. I read in the shooting draft, there were so many. They just let Michael go on and on and on. Well, here's a few I want you to hear that made deleted scenes.
Wow! Oh, boy. Like Thelma and Louise driving off the cliff. I'm really not even sure what just happened. I went inside and that was real, right? No, Mom, I don't know if I did the right thing. It's just what I did, okay? Don't put Jeff on the phone. Please, I don't want to. Hello, sir. How are your trains?
What is that? I know. There were a series like where he started talking to himself, like, I can't believe this happened. Then he calls, right? Then he's laughing hysterically. Then he's eating pizza. Then he's crying. Oh, they just went on and on. But I loved that his mom put Jeff on the phone. What's up with Jeff and trains? Is there something where he talks about Jeff collecting trains? At some point in an earlier episode, I feel like maybe, but that would have been the tag. It would have been Michael in the car, leaving New York, and all these series of emotions and little snippets in his car. Well, this whole thing is going to lead to one of my personal favorite storylines of the entire series for my character, Pam. And that is when Michael starts his own paper company and Pam goes with him. I can't wait to watch these episodes. I can't wait. All right, you guys, that was New Boss. We hope you're having a great week, and we'll be here next week. See you then. Bye. Thank you for listening to Office Ladies. Office Ladies is produced by Earwolf, Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey. Our show is executive produced by Cody Fisher. Our producer is Cassie Jerkins, our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico. Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed Bratton. For ad-free versions of Office Ladies, go to StitcherPremium.com. For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
He had to get up and use the restroom. That's the only reason his seatbelt was unbuckled.
Most people give up on their resolutions by mid-January. Walmart Plus can help save yours this year by saving you time and money. Walmart Plus is the membership with benefits like gas discounts, video streaming, plus so much more. Is your resolution to simplify your life? With free delivery, Walmart Plus makes ordering what you need online a no-brainer. Join now. New members get $50 in Walmart cash to get what they need to help save their resolution. Terms apply. See walmart.com/plus for details.
Whether your resolution is to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three. You guys know that we love HelloFresh. We've been using them for years. Each HelloFresh box is packed with farm fresh ingredients. Everything arrives pre-portioned, which means less hassle and also less wasted food because you really use everything in the package. Go to HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadiesFree and use code OfficeLadiesFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadiesFree with code OfficeLadiesFree. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. I'm Jenna Fisher.
And I'm Angela Kinsey.
We were on The Office together.
And we're best friends.
And now we're doing the Ultimate Office Rewatch podcast just for you.
Each week, we will break down an episode of The Office and give exclusive behind-the-scenes stories that only two people who were there can tell you.
We're the Office Ladies. Hello. Good. I always want to say good morning. I know you do because it's 9:30 a.m. for us, and I'm having a cup of tea. I'm having a cup of coffee. Hi, guys. Today we are talking about 2 Weeks, which is season 5, episode 21, written by Aaron Shore and directed by Paul Lieberstein. As we were warming up today here in the studio, literally warming up because it was very cold. Yeah, it's freezing in here. And we were waiting for it to warm up. We were talking about how much we love writer Aaron Shore.
Yes, Aaron, you are delightful. We are enjoying all your emails and just reconnecting with you. And you have the best stories.
The best stories. It's no wonder they use so many stories from his real life in episodes. Here's a summary. At the end of the last episode, Michael told David Wallace he was quitting. And guess what? It's true. Yeah. He has given his official 2 weeks notice, and he has also given up on doing any work.
Have you ever given a 2 weeks notice?
I have.
So have I.
It's the most awkward 2 weeks and you're at your job, but everyone knows you're quitting.
Yes, and it's true. You kind of coast. I mean, I didn't walk around with, Scotch and Splenda, but you kind of phone it in.
Well, I gave 2 weeks notice at a job, and in that 2 weeks, it was my job to hire my replacement and train them. So I had to conduct interviews and put out a job posting and then create a handbook for my job for the next person.
You had to do more work.
I did. I did more work in my 2 weeks than ever before.
I remember giving 2 weeks notice, and then when I was finally done with the 2 weeks, I got in my car, and guess what came on the radio?
What?
I'm free! Free falling! And I was like, it's a sign!
Is that how you felt?
Yes. Like in a good way. Not a bad free fall, like a good free fall.
Yeah, you were done with that job. Sounds like you didn't like it.
I did not like it. And you know what? I was a little bit of Michael Scott during my 2 weeks.
Well, Michael is going to take a turn when he learns how bad the current job market is. He suddenly starts to panic, and in the end, he is going to start his own paper company, and he's going to start by trying to recruit Dunder Mifflin employees to work with him. But pretty much everyone says no.
Except
Pam. Pam is the only employee who is going to join Michael in his new adventure,
the Michael Scott Paper Company.
I love this runner.
I do too.
Fast fact number 1, when I was looking at the script for this episode, it aired on March 26th, 2009. That was my sister's 30th birthday. That same year, I turned 35. We're 5 years apart. And I remembered what we did for our birthdays to mark these milestone birthdays.
What?
All right. This is a story where my family back home is like, I cannot believe this is your life. And I always say, this is not my life. This is a moment. This is like a crazy thing that happened. A club in Vegas.
I remember this.
This club in Vegas. And I am so sorry, I cannot remember your name. Club in Vegas. I'm so sorry. Because I know so very little about clubbing in Vegas. But this one time in my life, this club in Vegas reached out and they said that they would fly out my friends, family, whoever, give us an all-expense-paid trip to Vegas, a dinner.
I remember this, Jenna, because I had a little baby.
Yes.
And I couldn't go.
You couldn't go.
And then you're texting me from Vegas.
So I flew out my sister and her husband, and then I flew out Lee's brothers and sister. So it was like all of the brothers and sisters-in-law met in Vegas, and we partied hard, and it all kind of culminated in this club experience, which I'd never had before, with bottle service, sparklers, and cupcakes with my picture on them.
Crazy. I have to tell you. So I wasn't able to go. And then the next year, the same club. Oh my gosh, club in Vegas. We don't remember your name.
We're so sorry.
The next year.
It was really fun. We'll figure it out, and we'll definitely tag you in a photo in our stories.
We'll figure it out. The next year, same club. Privé? With like an accent on the E? Yes. Okay, so the next year, the same club reached out to me and Mindy, because Mindy's June 24th and I'm June 25th. And they said, we will throw you a joint birthday party in Vegas, fly you out, the whole shebang. And Mindy and I were like, oh my gosh, remember Jenna talking about it? We should do it. Mindy, do you remember this? I remember this. And then whatever, we couldn't do it because we just had too many moving parts. But there was a split second where Mindy and I were in hair and makeup and we're like, should we go to Vegas for our birthday?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, privé?
I think it's privé. A delicious dinner, I have to say.
Well,
in their
dang it,
casino club area. That was pretty dang cool.
That's a great flashback.
Moving along to fast fact number 2. You mentioned Scotch and Splenda.
Yeah.
Tastes like Splenda, gets you drunk like Scotch. Michael first mentioned this drink in season 3 Cocktails when he was having drinks at David Wallace's house. That episode was written by Paul Lieberstein. This episode is directed by Paul Lieberstein. So Paul clearly loves his Scotch and Splenda. I found a recipe for Scotch and Splenda, and I thought we should have it today.
Shut up! You're not. Wait, I didn't have much of a breakfast.
Scotch.
Oh my God, Jenna. Wait, Sam, did you know about this? Cassie?
Cassie's getting the ice. Here's
Cassie,
Splenda.
Did you guys know?
I didn't.
Okay.
And then I
I've had
thought,
one pancake for breakfast. Only one.
I thought we could drink it out of our own office ladies' glasses.
I love these. Look.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, everybody.
You can have sprinkles. I'll have the teapot.
Okay.
Sam and Cassie can have some Dundies. This is me opening the Splenda.
Oh my gosh. All right. You guys, it is 9:57 in the morning.
All right, so here's what you need. You need 1 packet of Splenda.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
2 ounces of scotch and some ice. I mean, I don't know what this is going to taste like.
We're going to be here for a bit.
All right, here I'm gonna open the scotch.
It's really happening, guys.
I thought this would be fun.
Uh-huh.
Only Cassie knew because she had to get the ice. I was like, do they have ice here? Here we go.
That's ice going in. Stirry, stirry. Okay.
Just so you guys know, this is what my parents think my job is.
No! Don't say that!
I'm so
Exactly.
33-34. That's wild. Yep. Hey, the Clippers, their new stadium is going to get the All-Star game.
certain this is disgusting.
We're gonna let you know.
Is everyone ready?
Wait 1 second. Drink responsibly. Okay, ready?
Here we go. Everybody try it. Cheers!
Cheers! Cheers!
December. Thanks, Tim. They're going to have Clipper games.
Oh my God, you guys, it's not bad.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I don't have anything snarky to say.
I don't hate it.
It's really nice.
I don't hate it. I would totally drink this if you served it to me at a bar.
I am maybe gonna ask for this the next time I go out.
Tastes like something Applebee's would have.
Okay, wait. Jenna, if you ask for Scotch and Splenda at a bar, I hope it shuts down. We need to go to Chili's and ask for Scotch and Splenda.
Yes. Oh my Lord.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
All right.
To chunking it.
Chunking it, Sam. Bringing back the chunk.
Wow, it's really kind of good.
Michael Scott was onto something.
I truly believed it was going to be awful, and I like it.
I like it too. Sam thinks we should do a spin-off podcast called Scotch and Splenda.
I can't wait to see what we talk about on that podcast. All right, fast fact number 3. Shortly after this episode aired, the NBC Office website sent out a mass email to all subscribers from Michael Scott about the fact that he was quitting Dunder Mifflin.
Yes.
And this is what it said. It said, as the manager of Dunder Mifflin Scranton, I learned 2 things. Everything about the paper business and that Dunder Mifflin is a sucky company. I am taking that expertise and creating the Michael Scott Paper Company. I cannot promise success, but I will promise you the best effing time of your life. So anyone who is subscribed to the website got that email.
This is so in the vein. I know it's going to come later, but when Jim's like, you know, this is an industry on decline. And Michael's like, I practically invented the decline. Like, this is the kind of energy he's going into his new business with.
Oh, well, listen, that's all I've got for Fast Facts. A story about Vegas, a little Scotch and Splenda, and a surly email from Michael.
It's one of my favorite fast facts we've ever done. The Scotch and Splenda might have had something to do with it.
Well, why don't we take a break and we'll come back and get into this episode.
Let's do it. Well, folks, you know I have a lot of family in Texas, and I just want you to know, if you travel to Texas, there are vast landscapes, cultures, regions, destinations, activities that allow for an infinite number of different travel experiences.
You can have fun in the sun. Texas has 350 miles of coastline.
That's right. Or if you like more of a rugged vacation, there are campgrounds, hiking trails, state parks, and the food. Can we talk about the food? Tex-Mex and barbecue. There's live music, art museums, cowboy experiences. Come on.
Right now, Travel Texas offers a one-of-the-kind online trip builder that allows users to generate a custom visually led trip matched to their unique interests. So you go in there and you click your interests and it'll say, here's where you want to go in Texas.
Visit traveltexas.com/get-your-own to get the only trip to Texas that matters, yours.
That's traveltexas.com/get-your-own. For 175 years, Gorton's has been committed to spreading the goodness of the sea by making quality seafood accessible to everyone while responsibly sustaining its future.
Over 99% of Gorton's seafood is certified as responsibly sourced.
And Gorton's reached out to us and said, do you want us to send you some of our fish sticks, some of our products, so you can become familiar with it before you speak about it on the podcast? And I was like, Gorton's, I've got you in my freezer right now.
Yeah, you do. You do. Your kids love the fish sticks.
Yes, it's our fave.
Guess what I got? I got the Southern style shrimp. It is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking in the freezer aisle, the Gorton's are in the yellow package. They've got the iconic fisherman on the cover. This brand has been around since I was a kid.
Same. Gorton's is actually a brand that's been around for 175 years.
Oh my gosh.
That's so rare. Well, we love Gorton's, and it can help you make your mealtime easy. Visit Gortons.com to learn more, find a store, and get a recipe inspiration.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
You know, around New Year's, we all reflect, and people really start making lists of what they can do to be their best self for the next year.
Yes, I think, you know, the new year definitely makes you think New Year's resolution. What do I want to change?
New year, new me, that kind of thing.
Yes, but perhaps this year we could be reflecting on what we're already doing right.
Yeah.
And therapy can help you figure out your strengths so that you can ditch this idea that you need some extreme change or this extreme New Year's resolution and just, you know, you can make changes that really stick because they're based on your strengths.
I like that.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try.
It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/OfficeLadies today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OfficeLadies.
All right, you guys, we are back. Michael is holding court, finally, in the kitchen. He has everyone's attention. He's telling them the story of how he quit, how he went to New York and quit and told David Wallace, I want you to know this is called the Purple Cold Open in the Kinsey Chronicles of The Office.
Why is it called the Purple Cold Open?
I will tell you, Jenna. Angela Martin is wearing a purple turtleneck and a purple cardigan. Pam is wearing a purple top under her cardigan. Kelly is wearing a purple striped button-down shirt. Oscar has purple squares on his tie and sort of faint purple stripes on his shirt. Stanley has purple stripes on his shirt and purple flowers on his tie. And Kevin also has purple stripes.
I will have you know, when I saw this cold open, I noted the numerous jewel tones, but I did not break it down like that, and I applaud you.
I just was like, what happened? What was Alicia, like, where was her? She was in sort of like a spring awakening mode of her life. Everyone had purple on in this whole kitchen scene, minus Michael. Everyone else had purple on. Just saying. I found it fascinating. Now the episode is going to start. Michael is walking around with one of those gooey, stretchy hands. You know, your kids get them at a county fair. And then they smack them on the window, and that leaves the gooey residue. Michael's walking around smacking pieces of paper. yanking him back. He messes with Phyllis's hair. I remember Phyllis broke on that.
I do too.
That's why you see her from the back, because she was laughing. And I love how he tucked it back in his suit pocket and just the hand like hung down sadly for the rest of the scene.
This is also when Michael is drinking his scotch and Splenda.
Yeah.
We reached out to writer Aaron Shore, the writer of this episode, because we were very curious who wrote Tastes Like Splenda, Gets You Drunk Like Scotch.
Yeah, we gotta know.
I mean, it's just too good. And he said that that line was created in a pre-table draft pitch session. So what that means is the writers, they would kind of typically work together to make an outline of each episode. And then a specific writer, in this case, Aaron Schur, would go off and write the whole episode based on that outline. And they usually got like about a week. Well, they would turn in their draft, they would get notes, and then they would also have these pitch sessions.
Right, they'll get notes. Sometimes a few of the writers will be put in a pod to pitch on a certain element of the script.
Yes, and that is exactly what happened with Scotch and Splenda. A few writers got together and they said, we want a really funny joke for this moment when Michael is walking around with a drink in his hand. And Aaron had saved all of the pitches.
Stop it! Oh my gosh! All of them! Oh my gosh! What were they?
Okay, so Kevin says, "Is that Scotch?"
Yeah.
And here are the various pitches that Michael would reply. Yup, from a fire truck shaped bottle in my office. Or better, Southern Comfort. Or nope, Diet Pepsi and water and ice and Scotch. Or it's non-alcoholic Scotch. And finally, the one they went with, Scotch and Splenda. Tastes like Splenda, gets you drunk like Scotch. And then that is the joke that they ultimately picked for our table read draft, which is the draft that all of the actors got and that we would read out loud.
I love it. My number 2 would have been a bottle shaped like a fire truck.
I liked bottle shaped like a fire truck as well.
Because I remember like my dad had like a novelty liqueur that I think it came in a Stagecoach. I don't know, but like it just sat on the shelf.
Well, the cool thing about those extra lines was then at the table draft, if it... Oh, Angela is having a sip of Scotch and Splenda. That's the ice thing here, because I was like, well, we are talking about Scotch and Splenda. It wasn't a joke, folks. We're really drinking it. Sipping it. We're really sipping it. That's true, you are sipping. But what I was going to say is the interesting thing is that those extra jokes, the ones they didn't put in the table draft, they would save in that candy bag document. And then if a joke didn't land at the table read, they might go over there and replace it when it came time for the shooting draft. Or they would have us do it on set, right? Different alternates.
Right. Sometimes I think the writers just wanted to hear them just for fun. Even though they knew we weren't going to like use any of them, they would hand you a page. And if we had time that day in our shooting schedule, we would just do a whole bunch of alts.
And it was always so fun.
So fun.
Stanley thinks Michael should start looking for another job. Michael says he has a job, to which Andy points out for 4 more days.
Yeah, Andy's like, you kind of got to get your act together here.
Well, Michael has a talking head where he is not worried. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and he's going to stop worrying about calories.
So during this whole montage of like people giving Michael advice, there was a scene in the shooting draft that didn't make it. And Kelly walks into his office and she's like, Michael, what are you going to do? You know what I would do? I'd move to Mexico. I'd live on the beach. I'd be naked. I'd make jewelry, have amazing sex, drink lots of margaritas. She just kind of goes off on this whole thing. And while Kelly is rambling on and on about what she would do, he is carving into his desk. Michael was here.
Oh my God.
And he really carved into the top of the desk. I was like, did we trash a desk for this like scene that never even made it in? And I wasn't the only one that noticed. Olivia C. wrote in and said, in the deleted scenes, they're on the DVD box set, guys, we see that Michael has carved, Michael was here on the desk. Did Steve really carve that into the desk? Olivia, I had the same question, but guess what? Randy Cordray had the answer. He said our production designer, Michael Gallenberg, created a matching desktop out of the exact same similar wood.
Wow.
I know. That was laminated over the actual desktop because we were shooting scenes out of order and they couldn't have different stages of Michael carving into his desk in the episode because then it wouldn't match.
Yeah.
So they just had this laminate top they would put on top and then they would take it away.
Now let me ask you this question.
Okay.
That means that Veda, our script supervisor, would have had a chart. And on that chart, for each scene, it would say carved desk, no carved desk. She would have tracked when we should see the carving.
Yes.
But they didn't know they were going to cut this scene until later.
Right.
So is it possible that we can see this carving on his desk throughout the episode?
Maybe. You'd have to be close, right? Like over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But, I mean, probably what a headache for Veda. Like keeping track of all that. And then it didn't even make it in.
I'll have you know, Angela, at 2 minutes 48 seconds, we had a fan catch from Flora K. There is a blooming plant at reception.
Flora, good catch.
I knew it would make your heart happy, Angela.
I saw it too, Flora.
You know, the last time we had a blooming plant at reception was beach games.
So you think this is connected to Pam? Pam is going to have her moment here.
She's going to have another moment. She's going to bloom again today, like in beach games. Now, I know we talked to Steve Ducherer, who told us that it was a coincidence that it was a blooming plant for beach games. But Steve Ducherer, again, with the blooming plant, Pam is blooming. I think it was subconscious. This is that group mind.
That's what I was going to say. This is creative group mind.
Well, Michael is now going to move into the kitchen. I guess he's hungry, so he's looking for some food.
He's a little tipsy, and he's going to go, like, raid the refrigerator. Who hasn't been there? Come on. In the script, it just said that Michael takes out a container clearly labeled Phyllis. But you know how he's eating it, and then he's like, Phyllis. None of that was in the script.
Oh, really?
Nope. Steve just improvised that.
Oh, that's so good. Andy comes in and he wants to give Michael some wine as a farewell gift. It's actually a really nice gesture.
It is. And Michael just doesn't give a crap.
Michael would love it if Jim came in and gave him a bottle of wine.
I know.
But, you know, it's Andy, so he's like, I already have wine.
This next scene I loved because Michael's sitting on the couch by front reception and a man walks in. He's interviewing for Michael's job.
Yeah, Michael is kind of on the couch reading a novel. I zoomed in on it. I tried to see what it was. It's like a woman in a martini glass. It's clearly like a
romance novel?
No, it seems like one of those like books for women about, you know, claim your space sort of book.
Yeah, like a motivational.
Yes, that's what it looked like to me. I want you to know a couple of things. At 4 minutes, 16 seconds, the blooming plant is on the move. It's been moved to the other side of the reception desk.
So you can see the couch better.
Yep. The man who's interviewing for the job is named Mr. Isaac Sylvie. And Aaron Schur told us that he was named after Aaron's kids, Isaac and Sylvie.
Isn't that so cute?
Yes. He had originally named the character Mr. Engbritson. But Paul Lieberstein told him, no, name him after your kids. So that's how he got the name Mr. Isaac Sylvie. He was played by David Grant Wright, who has appeared in several episodes of Better Call Saul, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and pretty much every soap opera you can imagine. David is an incredible actor, and I read his bio. He is a 27-year cancer survivor.
Oh, wow.
He wrote a one-man show called With Flying Colors about his cancer experience, which he has performed for the last 25 years, raising thousands of dollars for cancer patients. Good human alert.
Yes,
good human alert.
That's fantastic. Well, in this scene, Michael finds out that Isaac has driven all the way from Philly. Michael's like, gosh, that's a heck of a drive. And Isaac's like, yeah, well, this is one of the few places hiring. It's rough out there. And you sort of see the realization coming over Michael's face. Jenna, there was more to the scene. It was so good. I read it in the shooting draft. He has his resume out, Isaac, and Michael's like, can I see that? Michael is so blown away. He finds out that Isaac was the president of the company he used to work at.
Wow.
Yeah, and now he's driving all the way from Philly for a regional manager position. Michael is so blown away by his resume, he says, can I keep this? And then he really starts to spiral, and he goes to see Toby and asks Toby for resume advice, like how to beef up his resume. This made it into the deleted scenes. It's so good. Can we hear it?
Hey, Toby, I have a real quick question for you. about a resume?
Sure. So we might start with your most recent thing. Summary of achievements. What have you done here at Thunder Mifflin?
Regional manager, dickwad.
Okay, that's your title. How would you actually describe what you did?
Change things. Ushered in a new era of love and comedy in the workplace. Hired many, fired none. Made money, lost money. Learned to stop counting. This is our moment. This is our time. This next part should be sung, if possible.
That made me laugh so hard. The scene continued. Toby said, "How would you describe what you did?" And Michael has this speech, and it didn't make it in. This is Michael talking about himself. Michael Scott always had a strange recipe for success. 2 cups of spirit, a half a thing of inspiration, 2 spoonfuls of love, a water bottle of danger, a pinch of praise, a dash of hopes, a sprinkle of cinnamon, 2 pats of butter, a box of cake mix, and a little bit of cooking oil. Preheat of... Wait, what am I describing? It made me laugh so hard. That's his description of what he did.
Okay, that talking head is very funny, but I have to say what I think
I can Scotch and Splenda. Because it's so funny to me. Is it not that funny?
No, but I've shared a drink with you before, Angela, and you're getting into that terrible. You're getting into that, yes, that territory where you giggle.
I haven't even had a full Scotch and Splenda.
No, you haven't. And I just have to say one more time, it's so good. It's really good. I know. All right.
Let's move on.
Yes, let's. We need to talk about this new copier. I guess, we have this whole runner about copier or chairs. We never saw them get their chairs, but they have gotten a new copier now.
I did love that for the whole beginning of the episode. It was wrapped in like the blue sort of packaging, and no one said anything about it. I just love how things are in the backdrop like that.
I do too. Pam has a talking head where she says that they delivered this new copier, but they didn't set it up. So Pam's job today is setting up this copier.
This would do me in. I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't like reading instructions. I don't like manuals. When I get any kind of appliance and it comes with a manual, I just stash the manual in a corner.
This is reminding me of the document that we got when it was time to do the layout edit of our book.
You guys, it was like building a small Cessna.
Are we allowed to take a picture of that and put it on the pod? Because to me, it looked like some sort of scientific formula. It was all of these instructions for how to make a comment on the PDF. And when I looked at it, my brain exploded, and you got on the phone with me and said, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
I will mess it up.
So we got on the phone together, and every time you had a note, I read the document, and I carefully made the note on the PDF. So if you buy our book, Office BFFs,
just know that we now know how to, Jenna knows how to do a note on an elaborate layout, craziness document, and I learned how to build a Cessna airplane.
Yeah, but we cared, and we put that love and care into our book.
I'm buzzed.
I know. While Pam is going to be putting this copier together, Kevin is constantly bugging her. And there's a lot of Pam sass here. Yeah. I loved shooting this scene with Brian. We shot it first thing in the morning. They would do this when there were scenes at reception in particular that didn't feature the rest of the office. That meant nobody had to be in the background, and you guys didn't have to come in so early. So Brian and I came in first thing. It was probably 6:37 in the morning when we shot this scene, but I loved it. We had so much fun, and I got to sass him.
I think that we learned that in the accounting department, Kevin is tasked with all the menial tasks, like go make photocopies, go do this.
You're so right. That's why he cares so much about the copier.
It's his one job. when Pam talks about how a copier goes through a lot, I loved the runner of things that happened to this copier.
Oh, yes, we didn't talk about that.
It's so great. First of all, Creed puts coins into it. So right there, Creed is like probably messed with all the mechanisms. And Oscar's like, I think it's 75 cents. So he keeps feeding coins into it. And then, of course, Bandit chews on the wires. And then Kevin dumps a whole cup of coffee over the entire copier.
It's no wonder this thing doesn't work.
I know. I had a question for Randy Cordray at 5 minutes, 12 seconds. When we see Bandit chewing on the copier cord, I was like, Randy, do we know who the cat actor was? Because you have this whole list of the cat actors.
It looked like Bandit.
Well, Bandit was played in this scene by the ever-reliable Milkman.
Oh, Milkman.
Oh, Milkman. Randy said it took several days of training to get Milkman to actually chew on the cord, which was painted with sardine oil.
Oh, wow.
The training of the cat, the labor, the transportation costs, the cat rental for this episode, for this very simple 3-second insert shot cost us, any guesses, anyone? 3 seconds, a cat licking a cord. Any guesses? Cassie?
She gets $2,000.
Sam?
I'm gonna go big and say $10,000.
I'll hit it in the middle at 7.
$3,710.
Oh,
Cassie gets it.
Cassie wins. Closest without going over.
And once again, we use Bob Dunn's Animal Rentals from Silmar, California, with Denise Sanders, our lead cat trainer.
Once again, a simple little 3-second joke took somebody a week to make happen.
Yeah.
We are going to go to Jim's desk, and over his shoulder, we can hear monster sounds coming from Michael's office. I love this line when Jim says, it's monster.com, singular.
He knew.
We actually got a lot of mail about this bit.
Okay.
People wondered, where did we get the monster sounds? Well, as it turns out, it was none other than our post-production supervisor's voice, Jake Oust, making monster sounds.
Get out.
Yes, Jake. I guess he just recorded monster sounds into a microphone, and then our sound supervisor, Bobby Maxton, took the recording, added some reverb and some scary special effects, and that is how we got our fakey monsters.com website.
Jake, really good job with the monsters.
I agree. This leads us into a Michael talking head where he says if you work in paper long enough, you get to know the players, and he's going to start calling some paper companies to maybe, get a job.
Well, we find out there's only one on his list. Are you ready for the saddest outgoing message ever?
Yeah. Here it is.
Hi, you've reached Prince Paper. We are sad to inform you that after 40 years of serving the community, we are no longer in business. Thank you for your support. May God bless you.
Bye. Yeah. Oh, that was harsh.
That was Prince Family Paper, the small family-owned paper business that Michael and Dwight have clearly put out of business. The little girl at the end. Bye. I'll have you know, they were uncredited, but we brought back the original cast members of the Prince family to do the voices. That is Dan Desmond as Roger Prince and Emily Ray Argenti as his granddaughter, Rebecca Prince.
Like when I heard that again, I mean, I knew it was coming, right? I knew it was coming, but still, I was like, in his voice waivers, I was like, oof.
I know. Well, Michael needs to now figure something out. So at 16 minutes, 49 seconds, he's going to start throwing stuff at Jim to get his attention so that Jim will come in his office.
Yeah, he could have just called Jim, but instead he's going to throw a koosh ball at him.
Well, Jim goes in his office and Michael's like, close your eyes, because I'm going to tell you something. And Jim will not close his eyes. And this is when Michael reveals he's going to start his own paper company, leading to your favorite couplet.
Yeah. Do you know he's in decline? Do I? I practically invented decline. He goes on to tell Jim he has a name for the company and he wants Jim maybe to be a part of it. He's very excited.
It's a big no from Jim. I'll have you know, At 6 minutes, 44 seconds, I spotted something. What? The desk? No. Oh. Do you remember in season 3, The Job, part 1, I noticed that the outlet in Michael's office, the one under the big photo on his sidewall, was upside down. Correct. In that podcast, we learned that you can install outlets any way you want and they still work. Yeah. You can put them sideways, you can put them up and down. Yeah. I also said in that episode that I would be tracking outlets. I'll have you know, you didn't forget. I didn't forget. And if you look at that outlet, it is now facing up. It is facing the correct way. Ta-da! I kept my word.
Well, you did.
And the outlet is now up and down. There you go. Outlet tracker, Jenna Fisher. Mission accomplished. Charles is going to interrupt. Jenna's taking a trip drinking for Scotch and Splenda. I've been drinking water. Busted. What? Yeah, I just saw you drink. Charles is going to come in, and once again, Jim is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he breaks up their meeting. Yeah, because he says, Michael has given his 2 weeks notice. Jim, did you also give your 2 weeks notice? And Jim's like, nope. I'm going to go have a seat. We just need to find a way.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I literally just said, I just want to say something. We need to find a way to get to break. But you said to get to drink. That's what I said. We need to find a way to get to drink.
You guys, I want you to know it is 10:48 a.m.
Maybe we should go to break and drink some water.
Maybe we should go to break and drink some water.
We'll be right back. Let's talk a little bit about hydration in the new year, particularly about Liquid IV. Angela, you turned me on to this, and I'm going to have to give you props. Oh, thanks. It's pretty great. You told me that you use this when you travel to stay better hydrated, and I started doing the same thing.
You know, whenever we go on a road trip, it's like I don't want to drink too much water because then I'll have to pee, and then I find myself so dehydrated. So I use this.
Well, I like it for hikes. Here's what it is. You get a little packet and you put it in your water, and then you are going to get 3 times the electrolytes of a leading sports drink plus 8 vitamins and nutrients.
It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. It is perfect for daily use before a workout or when you feel run down or after a long night out, hint, or even on really long flights.
Rehydrate yourself for the new year. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use code OfficeLadies at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code OfficeLadies at liquidiv.com.
Okay, we are back. We have hydrated ourselves. Angela's eating some cheese. Jenna drank some water. We're going to be very serious podcasters now. We're serious. Don't worry. By the way, I wanted to start, before we jump back into the episode, I just want to give a big plug to BJ Novak's new show on Hulu called The Premise. It is so good. I've seen every episode. BJ, you are killing it. Every episode is standalone. It's like an anthology show with a different cast. He's directed many of them. He's written them.
You know what I didn't expect? So I just saw the first one. BJ starts it.
Yes, he has an introduction moment.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, BJ, I didn't expect to see you.
Well, they're great. BJ is one of the smartest people I know. Him and Mindy are
the smartest people in the room.
Yes, always. And he has this way of articulating complex thoughts in a really relatable way and brilliantly funny way.
Yeah.
Relatable way and brilliantly funny way.
Yeah.
He's the guy who wrote Diversity Day. That's all you need to know.
He's also the guy that wrote The Book with No Pictures. It's one of our kids' favorite books, and we've read it to them over and over the years. The sort of scope of BJ's brilliance is really amazing.
Yeah. BJ, we love you. We love your show.
You.
Check it out. The Premise on Hulu.
And if you have a youngin', The Book with No Pictures, you will love it.
Back to the episode. Pam is on the ground with this copier manual. And Dwight comes over. This is a really cool shot. This was directed by Paul Lieberstein. This was his idea to put the camera on the floor with Pam. I thought it was a really great idea. You know, at a certain point, there's only so many ways to shoot this documentary, and he found a new one.
I think Paul liked to have some of the artsy shots because do you remember when Jan goes to comfort Michael and he's sitting in the train? Like, yeah, you just saw this faraway shot of his feet. Yeah. So I think Paul likes those interesting shots. In the next scene, Michael goes up to Pam. Kind of sneaky. He wants her to help him make a order form for his new company,
which is basically Dunder Mifflin's order form, but with Michael Scott Paper Company
in the corner
in place of Dunder Mifflin.
Right.
She's like, okay, all right, let me think about this. And she comes up with this way that they could kind of do this.
Scan it.
Yeah. And he says, I was thinking maybe we would just tape it.
Put a little piece of paper over it, tape it.
She's like, okay.
I feel like this is the moment that starts Pam's storyline of feeling very easily replaceable because she's been studying and studying this manual and thinks she's kind of had this great idea about how to use this new information, and it's just like that, replaced with some tape.
At 8 minutes and 41 seconds, I want you to know, on Pam's desk, Nick is still in the office all day. Well, the Post-it is still there. Nick has been in the office for 3 episodes now.
Nick
all day.
Yeah, Nick in office.
All right, now we're going to get into this really wonderful scene in the conference room.
The Angela-Kelly rivalry is going strong.
Kelly is talking to Charles about how she has to leave early on Tuesdays to pick up her little sisters from school because, you know, they're kind of like the Kardashians. Angela's going to come in because she wants to show Charles that brochure for the accounting seminar she was telling him about.
Yeah, well, you remember he has a degree in accounting.
Charles is like, did Michael just allow anyone in his office at any time?
Okay, so this was in the script. I looked it up to see how much was ad-lib and wasn't. And there was a prompt for Angela and Kelly to talk at the same time. And we did add a little bit more, but basically we both just were going to gush like, oh yeah, he was like, come on in. I felt like this was super animated Angela.
Well, you know, she is turning on the charm for Mr. Charles Minor.
I know. She said there was a Sunday bar at the accounting seminar, but she didn't eat any, you know, just ate trim. And then Kelly shoos her out and turns to Charles and says, yeah, she's really special. You know, she's turning 50 this year. I was actually 37 when we filmed this. I am 50 now.
You know, when we were trading messages with Aaron Shore, he wrote us about a prank that Idris Elba played on the writers before he came to set.
Yeah.
Now, he actually said, I don't know if this was a prank that Mindy played on us, pretending that it was from Idris, or if it was actually from Idris, but I guess they got this email that was like, listen, Idris gets really upset if you mispronounce his name, and his name is pronounced Idris Elba.
It's so ridiculous.
And they wrote it out, Idris Elba.
Yeah, they sounded it out.
But then a bunch of them were like, I swear that's not right. And so for the first week that Idris was on the show, all of the writers were afraid to call him by his name. And then they found out that this was not true at all. Number one, that his name is Idris, and number two, that he doesn't get mad if you mispronounce his name. But I thought that was really funny.
Idris, was that you or was it Mindy? By the way, Idris, we have tried to reach out to you. We don't know how to get a hold of you. We'd love for you to be on the show. We did find some of your peeps, but they said you're busy.
Very busy, I guess. You're making 2 movies and you're promoting another movie.
You're busy.
We're here for you, Idris.
Idris,
anytime.
If you would like a Scotch and Splenda,
we're your gals.
With 2 gals who love to Google.
We're here for you.
Well, Charles has a talking head where he just kind of owns it. He's like, look, I know the effect I have on women.
That's a meme.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Well, Aaron Schur shared with us, you guys, that talking head was inspired from a real interaction he had. He said there was an actor he was working with, no names, he wouldn't divulge the name, big star, who they were pitching a joke to, and the actor was like, this joke would never work because, I mean, I know the effect I have on women. And Aaron saved that, it went in his brain, and Charles had it in a talking head. I really wish we knew the actor, but Aaron, gentleman that he is, did not say.
Maybe if we took him out for a Scotch and Splenda,
maybe he would tell us. Immediately after the scene, Kelly is not going to give up, guys. And in the deleted scenes, there's a little bit of what I want to call a flirty in the break room. Ooh.
Hello. Having a nice stay here?
Great.
You must be from Jamba Juice.
What's that?
It's a juice company because you're a smoothie.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Shut up.
So she has this really lame pickup line and then immediately just hates herself and goes in the corner and is like, why did I do that? Well, this leads us into a scene that I will call awkward in the kitchen. Oh, so awkward. Michael is still trying to recruit people for his business, and Andy does that thing, you know, that people do when they're uncomfortable. They either sing their answer or they do an accent. I think I'm the accent person. I sing stuff, yeah, when you don't want to, like, really tip your hand. Yeah. So Andy's like, oh, interesting idea. Like, he does some ridiculous accent. But you would be like, that's a very interesting offer. Yeah, I mean, the other day I did it while we were working together. When we were working on that document. Oh, yeah. I was like, this PDF editing is difficult. And then I was like, are you okay? Because it sounds like you're about to spiral. I was like, yeah. Well, it gets only more cringy because now Dwight comes in. But Michael does not ask Dwight to join his company. But it is also clear that Dwight wouldn't say yes anyway. Yeah, so he's like, I've got the farm and a thing, and let's put a pin in it. Yeah, let's definitely put a pin in that. Yeah. Well, we got a lot of mail about this kitchen scene. A lot of people felt like it was out of character for Dwight to not want to join Michael's paper company. And also, people wondered, why didn't Michael want him to join? And I just didn't know if we wanted to discuss. I have my thoughts. Let me hear them. Dwight is a survivalist. And he doesn't think Michael's company is going to survive. So ultimately, even though he loves Michael, he's not going to go somewhere where he won't survive, right? Yeah. So I think he's very practical, so he's not going to go with Michael. But I'm not sure why Michael doesn't want Dwight. Do you have any thoughts? You know, that is a really good question. I definitely see why Dwight would say no, but why Michael doesn't ask, I'm not quite sure. Yeah. Do you guys have theories? Yeah, send us your theories. We'll add them to a revisited. But Michael is going to ask Oscar. And the way he's going to do that is by putting a note in his sandwich, a piece of paper that he bites into. Don't worry, it's sterile. Just saying sterile doesn't mean it's sterile. I loved that line. It's like just saying bankrupt doesn't mean declared bankruptcy. Exactly. Michael gets Oscar to meet him outside, and Oscar immediately starts offering very practical advice about how most new businesses don't turn a profit for the first 2 years. And, you know, can he afford that? Can he afford to make no money for 2 years? Right. Well, Michael's like, hey, stop convincing me. You got the job with all your number lingo. But ultimately, Oscar's a no, and that means that he has to move on to Stanley, who he's going to stalk outside the bathroom. Outside? He's inside. I guess outside the stall. I don't know how urinals work, but I imagine he walked up while he was just peeing, because Stanley's like, I'm urinating. Michael keeps talking to him. Stanley's like, no. Michael has then a very sad talking head where he's like, you know what? No one said yes to prom, but I still had a good time. Guess what? What? Pam fixed the copier. After 4 hours, she did it. She didn't let it beat her. No, she did not. She knows everything about this machine. Phyllis is going to copy a piece of paper, and Pam is like, did it work? How is it? And Phyllis is like, fine. Fine. So this whole copier storyline felt very familiar to me. Having worked many temp jobs, having fixed many copiers in my real life, and it just felt to me like it was written by someone who also had this personal knowledge. Yeah. So I had to ask Aaron, have you had experience with copiers? You know, because so many of his real life stories
have wound up in our scripts, like running past the speed meter.
Yeah, and this whole copier story has so many details.
So as it turns out, yes, he told us that he temped in a ton of offices when he was a struggling stand-up in New York, and he quickly learned that if you could unjam the copier, you held the power. Yeah, he actually said, quote, "You were like an office magician, a David Copperfield opening the cabinet of mysteries." And only a person who has done the copier thing, I feel like, totally gets it, so I totally get it. He said that he would actually copy the user manuals and take them home and read them over the week. That's the part that really got me. He would like learn everything from the manual. Aaron, I feel you. Thank you for writing this runner for Pam, because I was able to draw on a lot of my real life experience when it came to performing this copier story.
I don't know. Did Michael leave the fakey order form in the copier? Charles finds it. How does he find it? We don't know. But he's going to get Hank, and they're going to escort him out the building.
I am sorry. I am not sure that there is a recurring character that I love more than Hugh Dane as Hank.
I know. When Michael's like, Hank, come on, escort Charles out. And Hank's like, come on, man. I know. Just come on. He's so good. So good. Michael really wanted to make a farewell speech. Charles is not going to have that. And everyone watches him as he leaves. And he's like yelling things from his car, right? He's yelling from the parking lot. And everyone's looking down and they're like, what's he saying? We can't hear what he's saying. This is what it said in the script. All right. Michael walks toward his car. Everybody watches from the conference room above. Michael stops at his car and looks up at the Dunder Mifflin windows. And then he yells this. This is it! This is goodbye! Forever! Ah! It's such a nice day out here! Freedom! I'm already so happy! I can do anything I want right now! I'm going to go! For coffee! Ha-ha! That is what was in the script. And then it says he screeches his tires and drives off. The camera follows his car. Michael parks just a short distance around the corner, gets out of his car, sneaks back into the parking lot and into the building.
We get to hear a lot of people's opinions on Michael leaving. My favorite is probably Toby. He says Michael is like a movie on a plane. Not great, but something to watch.
And then when the movie's over, you're like, well, now what?
Yes. BJ wrote that talking head. Very funny. And we got a piece of mail about it. What? Someone wrote in, and I'm so sorry I did not write down your name, to say that a missed opportunity in this episode was Toby conducting Michael's exit interview. Oh, wouldn't you have loved to see that? And I mentioned it to Aaron, and Aaron said, but he was escorted out. They like to believe that if Michael hadn't been escorted out, he would have had his exit interview with Toby before he left.
Plus, they had written a pretty great Michael Toby scene where Toby helps him with his resume that didn't make it in.
Yes.
Well, as everyone is having these really funny talking heads, Creed had one that was in the shooting draft and it didn't make it in, and I have to read it to you. Okay. Creed says, "Old Creedy outlives yet another boss. Time to put a marble in the box." And then Creed pulls out a cigar box out from his desk and puts a marble in it. There are 4 marbles in that box.
What is that? What is that?
Is that amazing?
Well, like you said, Angela, Michael is not leaving. He actually army crawls through the front door, through the office. He goes over to accounting.
This was a really fun scene for us to shoot. It was really hard not to laugh. We played around with how I shut the drawer, and I ultimately shut it with my foot, and it was just like so fun.
Steve really tore up his elbows and his knees, though.
Yeah.
Doing that.
He got like a rug burn.
Yes, and Randy told us that they offered him elbow and knee pads, and Steve was like, "It's fine, I'll do it." And he did 2 takes without the elbow and knee pads, and he totally tore up his elbows and knees. He was so committed. Also, Randy told us, you know, when he throws that highlighter at Jim? Yeah. That was not a real highlighter. That was a fakey highlighter.
Oh, so it wouldn't like hurt someone?
Yes. Remember when Michael throws the pen at Toby's forehead and it was Phil had to make a rubber pen?
Yeah.
Phil had to make a rubber highlighter and it cost $850.
Whoa.
Yep. Michael wants everyone to go with him, and he starts to pull at Phyllis's chair. And you see it from the point of view of Charles, right?
You see Phyllis kind of like lurching, right?
Yeah,
to the side. If you watch the bloopers, you guys, and I remember this happening, the first time we did this scene, Steve yanks on Phyllis's chair and she fell right out of it.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And they didn't stop rolling. You know, Michael just goes, "Oh my God, Phyllis, are you okay? Are you okay?" And Phyllis kind of snorts, laughs, and she says, "Yes, yes." But it's in the bloopers and it's great.
Now, Charles is going to find Michael.
Yeah.
He comes out of his office, and they have this really awkward exchange.
Yeah, like it's going to get physical.
All right, in the deleted scenes, Jenna, Charles finds Michael stealing office supplies in a box and chases him through the kitchen. Michael drops the box of supplies to like throw him off, you know, maybe Charles will trip over it. And then he like last ditch effort just grabs the big container of cheese balls and makes a run for it. Oh my gosh, that's why we're going to have cheese balls later.
Yes.
In Michael's paper company.
Because in the deleted scenes, that's what he leaves with is the cheese balls.
I love it.
I know, I wish it had made it in. So for me, when Michael's like, "Who's with me? Who's coming with me?" This is his Jerry Maguire moment. Instead of a goldfish, it's a bunch of cheese balls.
That is perfect.
I thought we had to hear Jerry's moment and then Michael's moment.
This moment will be the moment of something real and fun and inspiring in this God-forsaken business, and we will do it together.
I believe and I love this country more than most of your friends. You have the biggest flag of any of my friends.
Who's coming with me?
That is true.
Who's coming with me?
I love this country. I wish we went to the moon. I would love this country even more.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
More now.
I will go with you.
And now for Michael and Pam's moment.
This is your future. Hello, I'm your future. You are older and you are very happy now because you went with Michael Scott, right? So everybody, come on down. Now let's just crawl out of here together. All right? Come on. Are you doing your best here? Are you being the best that you can be? All right, everybody, who's gonna go with me? I want you to stomp your foot.
Oh no. I'm going with them.
I mean, come on. Oh, it was so Jerry Maguire. By the way, I forgot about the goldfish in Jerry Maguire.
Process this news.
And I can swear on Bible on that happened. I know for a fact. And 4 of those windows used to leak. And then we replaced those 4. And man, it smells beautiful in the house. All the sound is kept out. All the warmth is kept inside. And they look sensational from the inside and from the outside. And people compliment them all the time. Like, wow, look at those beautiful windows you got. I said, oh, yeah. You got to call them. They're at American Vision Windows. And then they would say, are they running any specials this month? I'm like, oh, yeah. They got free upgrades to Quadratherm this month only. And then they'll say, what about interest? And I'll tell them 0% interest, 0 payments for 12 months, and free expert installation. At that point, they said, I'm sold. What's the phone number? And I tell them, 888-226-9908. 888-226-9908. Or go to the website, very popular website there with all the information. American Vision.
No, yo me escribe tus hablas.
Unapproved credit offer expires 1/31/24. GSB 778-326.
There's a crash, Studio City.
This is on the 101, and I've been checking out what the Highway Patrol has been telling us about this wreck, and it's actually a long stretch of the 101. Somebody was just driving around hitting cars, from what the reports are saying, intentionally, and it started at Universal coming through the Cahuenga Pass, and then the guy just kept going, and then hit another car near Coldwater Canyon, and then continued towards the 405. So there's a couple of different spots along the 101 where this crash occurred. So it happened.
There's Angel Martinez.
Anyway, watch out because
she's selling sandals. What's your sandal store called?
Pretty full all the way out of Silver Lake, with the race will take you all the way into Encino. So it's really tough on the 101.
Oh, it was so Jerry Maguire. By the way, I forgot about the goldfish in Jerry Maguire, and I'll have you know that when we get to Michael Scott Paper Company, not only do we have those cheese puffs, but Michael has a goldfish on his desk.
Come on.
Yep. Well, fans were very split on this episode. A lot of people loved this turn of events of Michael starting his paper company and Pam going with him. But other people really thought that it was selfish of Pam to quit without talking to Jim first. Well, we talked to Aaron Schur about this, and he said two things. First of all, he said in a future episode, spoiler alert, Vikram from the telemarketing firm is going to join Michael Scott Paper Company.
Oh, yeah, baby.
He wrote this talking head for Vikram that got cut, but it explained why Vikram decided to join Michael Scott Paper Company. And it went like this. When you put your telemarketing career on the line, you haven't put much on the line. And Aaron said he felt like that kind of summed up Pam as well. Right. That Pam wasn't quitting much of a job at all.
Well, if she could be replaced by some invisible Scotch tape.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. There was also a line that Aaron wrote to explain this business of Pam not talking to Jim before making this decision, a little couplet of dialogue that got cut, where Jim said to Pam, "Shouldn't we have talked about this first?" And Pam said, "You blindsided me with a house." Ooh. And Jim said, "You're right, I'll bring your stuff home." So he did address it, but it ended up getting cut.
I think it was the right move to cut it, because it seems like, I don't know, a real thing Pam is holding on to that I don't think she is.
No, I don't think so. As soon as Jim showed her the house, she loved it.
She felt cared for and loved.
She took it on, and I think she's been very happy ever since. So I'm glad that they didn't pin that as some sort of lingering resentment for Pam.
Yeah.
Pam catches up to Michael in the parking lot. She says she's coming along, but she wants to be a salesman, not a receptionist.
And Jim's kind of surprised by that. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And everyone is gathered again up in the conference room, and they're looking down as Pam and Michael walk away. And as they're walking away, you can see the doubt. You see this change of them being from triumphant to kind of doubt.
Right.
Well, a lot of people liken this ending to the ending of The Graduate. And spoiler alert to anyone who's never seen The Graduate, but at the end of the movie, the character of Benjamin, who's played by Dustin Hoffman, crashes the wedding of his love, Elaine, and the two of them are running away from the church. They're laughing together, and then they jump onto this city bus, and it's just so exciting, and they take their seat, and while they're sitting there, their expressions kind of slowly change. It's a really famous scene. It's so good. Well, in the script, our stage direction for this scene was this. Jim waves as Michael and Pam walk out together. We stay on their faces as they transition from fantasy to reality. So I was not thinking of The Graduate when we shot this. I was thinking of a different scene from the movie The Heartbreak Kid with Charles Grodin. Have you seen it?
I mean, a long time ago.
Well, again, I guess, spoiler alert, at the end of this movie, he's finally married the woman of his dreams, Sybil Shepherd. He's been chasing her through the whole movie. He sits down on a couch at their reception, and then you just see this sort of like malaise wash over his face. And he's like, what now? Because for him, it's all about the joy of the pursuit, but now he did it.
Right.
And you can tell he's already restless. I thought of that movie because I always think that's such a perfect moment of acting. I mean, he's so good in that movie. But anyway.
Well, I will tell you that Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger in the elevator holding a goldfish also have a moment like that.
Hey!
Because I rewatched the movie last night. Well, this episode ends with something I absolutely love. There's a conference room scene. Charles is telling everyone we've lost some employees. We're going to have to do some shifting around. And this is so great. Everyone's reactions are so good. He's like, you know what, Kevin, you're going to be answering phones at reception. Everyone in the room is like, what? I know. Kevin? I know. I am very much in the foreground of this shot. That was on purpose. because they wanted me to react, obviously. And then he says he's going to put Stanley, who's doing his crossword, barely awake, in charge of productivity. Dwight is like, are you kidding me? Aaron said he pitched that idea of having Charles put Kevin in charge of the phones, which is going to pay off beautifully in the cold open of next week's episode. But he said it just makes him giggle to think that, like, Charles's big power move after Michael leaves is putting Kevin in charge of the phones. Like, he's like, I got this place. Yeah. I know what to do. Speaking of the next episode, ironically, it did not air for 2 weeks. Oh, no way! Yes, there was a break. I just thought that was really funny. People had to really wait 2 weeks. Yeah, this was a big cliffhanger. Also, this is the last episode that Pam was a receptionist ever in the office. She never returns to the receptionist desk. Let's finish our Scotch and Splenda. To Pam, RIP receptionist. I know. Next up, salesman. To Pam! I didn't know that either. When we filmed this episode, I didn't know. I didn't know that you didn't know at the time. Yeah. Well, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't. Wow. I should have worn my t-shirt today that says I would save the receptionist. Yeah. Well, listen, there were a lot of other receptionists that come along, but Pam is always going to be our favorite. Oh, thank you, lady. At least you're on Office Ladies. Come on. Thank you so much. That was 2 weeks. Next week is Dream Team. I can't wait to talk about it. Please don't bring any Scotch and Splenda. We can't do it. We can't have a Scotch and Splenda and do that podcast. You know what I'll bring next week? A giant pile of French toast. Oh, gosh. Don't bring that either. Listen, thank you so much to Aaron Shore and Randy Cordray for giving us all the inside details on this episode. We'll see you next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you for listening to Office Ladies. Office Ladies is produced by Earwolf, Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey. Our show is executive produced by Cody Fisher. Our producer is Cassie Jerkins, our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico. Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed Bratton. For ad-free versions of Office Ladies, go to StitcherPremium.com. For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
Rabbi. Hey, Rabbi. You are so sick. Nobody paid attention to you today. Are you sure?
Most people give up on their resolutions by mid-January. Walmart Plus can help save yours this year by saving you time and money.
This is how I
Walmart
communicate
Plus is
to
the
the
membership
website.
with benefits like gas discounts, video streaming, plus so much more. Is your resolution to simplify your life? With free delivery, Walmart Plus makes ordering what you need online a no-brainer. Join now. New members get $50 in Walmart cash to get what they need to help save their resolution. Terms apply. See walmart.com/plus for details.
Baby. I'm a
Did you know that the bold, smooth
I'm
taste
boss,
of Dunkin'
baby.
cold coffee
West
can be
Side
brewed
gangster.
in your Keurig coffee maker and enjoyed at home? You heard that right.
West Side,
Dunkin's
yeah,
cold
that
K-Cup pods were crafted to
shut
be
the
brewed
fuck up,
hot
woman.
and enjoyed cold. Each
A
Dunkin'
dog's
cold
purpose is
K-Cup
good.
pod is packed with the smooth, bold Dunkin' flavor you crave. Pick up a pack of Dunkin's cold K-Cup pods and enjoy a Dunkin' cold coffee at home whenever you crave it. Just brew over ice and sip
A
in
dog's
seconds.
purpose
Because
to
the
be
home
good.
with Dunkin' is where you want to be. I'm Jenna
He's
Fisher.
my
And
friend.
I'm Angela
He's
Kinsey.
the
We were on
baby.
The Office together, and we're best
What
friends.
was
And now we're
TJ
doing the
Dawson?
Ultimate Office Rewatch podcast
Jewel
just for you.
and
Each week, we will break
Rock.
down an episode of The Office and give exclusive
Right.
behind-the-scenes stories that only 2 people who were there can tell you.
We're the Office Ladies.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Lady, I want you to look at me.
I am looking at you, and the first thing I said when I sat down was, I love this top. What is this?
I said I'm going to bring it up. It is a sweatshirt. But look, it has
poofies.
Poofy shoulders.
Is that a hood?
It's a poofy shouldered hooded sweatshirt. Remember, I told you these poofy things are back.
This is true. Jenna went to the mall yesterday, and she was texting me pictures of what I can only describe as Angela Martin's dream wardrobe.
Yes, it's lacy, high neck. What? poofy shoulders, poofy arms when we do our book tour.
We're going to have a
dressing this way.
selection.
And I will also have you know, speaking of our book tour wardrobe, remember I said I was going to bring back the giant cloth flower.
Yeah.
That I don't know why I have so many in my closet.
It was a thing.
I was watching Drew Barrymore's talk show last week. She was wearing one.
No.
I took a picture.
What, on her blouse?
Yeah, her shirt. She had a fakey flower.
Oh, I need to see it.
Mark my words. I am on trend. It's poofy sleeves and fakey flowers. 2022. They're coming at ya.
It's all happening, guys. Angela Martin fashion is here, mixed in with a little Jenna Fisher.
A lot of people wrote in to say the fakey flower was from Sex and the City. I guess Carrie Bradshaw loved a fakey flower.
She is not the OG of the fakey flower.
Who is? I mean, I can't even tell you how much mail we got about it.
I mean, I feel like fakey flower was here in the 80s. Let's look up some Molly Ringwald. Come on.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. I'm positive I had a fakey flower I clipped on a hat because I was trying to be like, what was that movie, Pretty in Pink?
I have decided that I'm going to single-handedly bring back the fakey flower during our book tour. Even though Drew Barrymore wore one on her show, I'm going to bring it wide in 2022.
Bring it wide?
Yeah, I am.
That should be our book tour slogan. Bring it wide. No. You know what?
I don't.
Let's rethink that.
We should not.
You know what? I'm going to think on it.
Okay.
Bring your flower. No.
Well,
maybe? No. We'll see you on the book tour.
But for today, we're going to be discussing Dream Team, which is season 5, episode 20 of The Office, written by BJ Novak and directed by Paul Feig. Let's have a summary. Here it is. Michael has officially left Dunder Mifflin, and he has started his own paper company called Michael Scott Paper Company in his condo. Pam has joined him. Michael is having a little trouble facing his workday, but with Pam's encouragement, he decides to assemble a dream team to get their company started, and they are also going to have a meeting with a potential investor.
Things are looking up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back at the office, Charles is in charge. Charles in charge.
I know.
In Scranton. Andy discovers that Charles is a soccer fan, and now everybody is trying to kiss up to Charles and get on his good side. It's the first time we've seen the man smile. Jim is even going to pretend that he used to play soccer. This does not go well.
No. You know what I loved about this storyline, and it's something BJ talked about in the DVD commentary for this episode? He said normally when you break a story, you have the A story, which is the main story, and then you have the B story, which is sort of like the other sort of side dish, if you will. He said that Idris's scenes were so great, and the dynamic that Charles Minor had with the rest of the office was so interesting for them. They really felt like his storyline as 2 A stories.
It felt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this felt like a very well-balanced episode.
Right. I thought that was interesting.
Fast fact number 1, this episode starts a delightful arc where Michael is going to run his own paper company. And I found out that it was our writer, Charlie Grandy, who came up with this idea, and they had been planning this arc for months.
Oh, well, he was on the DVD commentary for this episode.
I don't know if they mentioned this on the commentary, but this episode was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Single Camera Editing for a comedy series. Our editors were nominated.
That's fantastic.
It was edited by Claire Scanlon. Now, Claire came in to replace Dean Holland when he moved over to work as an editor and eventually a director on Parks and Recreation. So now our 2 editors were Dave Rogers and Claire Scanlon. You might remember Claire because she had a cameo as Freckles in Lecture Circuit Part 2. Before this, she edited Golden Ticket, but Dream Team was her 2nd episode, and she was nominated for an Emmy. Claire!
Of course now Claire is like big, badass director, amazing. I would love to have Claire on.
We should have Claire
I
on.
know.
Fast fact number 2 is a location breakdown.
I knew you'd have one.
Well, a good deal of this episode takes place at Michael's condo. And this was not an easy feat. Randy Cordray told me we went back to the same condo complex where we shot Michael's condo before for Dinner Party and pretty much any episode featuring Michael's condo. It was in Reseda, California, and it was owned now by a married couple. In order to use their condo, We had to move them into a hotel for an entire week. Okay. We had to take all of their stuff out. They put it into cartons in the garage. We painted the entire downstairs and decorated it. They made a point to decorate it differently from dinner party because, you know, now Michael is single.
Yes, I noticed the only thing that remained that I recognized from dinner party was the St. Pauli girl beer sign.
Same. In the dining room.
Yes.
We only shot at this condo for one day, and then they had to completely restore it back to the way the couple had it. And here is the thing that is fascinating to me. Because what they would do is they would take like a gazillion photos.
Yeah.
Of every shelf, of everything. Anything that we moved, they took a picture of it before they moved it, and they would put it in a binder, like hard copy photos, because back then, you know, that's what it was.
Yeah, so it'd be like kitchen counter.
Yes, so that when the people came back, like even their little spoon caddy was where they left it, or if they had a bookshelf, all their stuff, the books were in the same order as the picture frames were right where they left them. Everything. Isn't that fascinating?
I know, it is amazing. In the DVD commentary, BJ talked about how carefully they decorated every wall. They put so much thought and detail, and you just see it just quickly in the background. But I caught a few things, I'm sure you guys did too. I'm going to bring them up when we get to it.
I love it. Fast fact number 3 is a guest star homage to the amazing actress who played Nana. Her name is Connie Sawyer. Just incredible. We got a piece of mail from Meredith Q, who wrote, I did a deep dive. The woman who played Nana needs some recognition.
Yes, she does.
First of all, she lived to be 105. Who does that?
Wow.
Is what Meredith said. And according to IMDb, her first acting credit was in 1953 at the age of 40. Her last acting credit was in 2014 at the age of 101. That's 61 years of acting, plus she acted over the age of 100. What a rock star. Tell me everything. Well, I looked into this woman, and performance had been a part of her life, her whole life. She had done vaudeville, she had performed live with Frank Sinatra, but it's true that she never had a film or television role until she was 40.
So on the commentary, the writers were talking about her on set. They said she had the most amazing stories. She was throwing out stories about Bing Crosby, Bob Hope. They were just like, oh my gosh, she was fascinating. What I love about her story, Jenna, is that she did stage shows for years. She didn't get an on-camera role till 40, but this was her passion. And you should never let anyone take that away from you. However your passion manifests itself, I just love her story. She just kept at it.
She has over 140 acting credits, and almost all of them are small roles. And she has this quote about her acting career where she said, life is fun. That has nothing to do with whether you become a star or not. And if the parts aren't too large, I can go around talking to everybody. It's like going to a party. Aww. And when she was 104, she wrote an autobiography called I Never Wanted to Be a Star and I Wasn't. And she self-published it in 2017. At 104!
Wow.
Well,
that is amazing. BJ said the scenes that you guys did with her, that when they threw out some improv, she didn't miss a beat.
Well, I remember her from When Harry Met Sally. She is one of the women in the couples that they interview documentary style.
Yes!
She has no lines. Her husband speaks the whole time, but it all plays out on her face. And she is so good. And she has this story where she says that she read the script and she went to Rob Reiner and she said, I want to be the woman in the deli who says the famous line, I'll have what she's having. She said, I want the show-stopping line. And he said, I'm sorry, we already shot that. My mother did it.
Yeah, his mom did it.
But she's just so good. She passed away in 2018 at the age of 105. And at the time of her death, she was the oldest working actress in Hollywood and the oldest member of the Screen Actors Guild Union. Amazing woman.
Amazing. Connie Sawyer, everybody.
Well, that's all I've got for Fast Facts. But before we go to break, you know, Marcus York, who played Billy Merchant, is in this episode. This is his last appearance on the show, and he actually passed away earlier this year. he was just wonderful. And he was so wonderful to us. He shared a story with us.
He did. He and I would text, and we talked on the phone several times. He loved his character of Billy Merchant. He was so supportive of the show, and we were just so fond of him.
We got a letter from a man named Nathan N., and I thought this summed up Marcus pretty well. He said, I just wanted to comment on Marcus York, because I believe this is his last episode, and I wanted to let people know what kind of guy he is. He was from Darke County, Ohio, which is near where I work as a police officer. Just so happens that my partner met him one night when he was checking on him when he pulled over to use his phone. Upon Marcus telling him he was on The Office, my partner said that he's never watched the show, but that I did, and I was going to be so bummed that I missed him because I've talked about him in the past. Marcus asked him if I was working, and he said I wouldn't be in for about an hour. Not only did Marcus wait that hour, but on top of that, he took a picture with me, his idea, hung out for an hour, and gave me an autographed picture made out to my wife. He seemed so happy to meet a fan that knew him and was interested in him and his career. And even though I only met him that one time, he definitely left a lasting impression for sure. Such a nice guy and a tragic loss.
That is so well said. He was such a nice person.
And he was so aware of the joy that he could bring to people by just being open to that fan experience or talking about his time on the show.
And he certainly did that with us here at Office Ladies.
He did.
Much love to Marcus and his family.
All right, let's go to break.
Let's do it. Well, folks, you know I have a lot of family in Texas, and I just want you to know, if you travel to Texas, there are vast landscapes, cultures, regions, destinations, activities that allow for an infinite number of different travel experiences.
You can have fun in the sun. Texas has 350 miles of coastline.
That's right. Or if you like more of a rugged vacation, there are campgrounds, hiking trails, state parks, and the food. Can we talk about the food?
Tex-Mex
and barbecue. There's live music, art museums, cowboy experiences. Come on.
Right now, Travel Texas offers a one-of-the-kind online trip builder that allows users to generate a custom visually led trip matched to their unique interests. So you go in there and you click your interests and it'll say, here's where you want to go in Texas.
Visit traveltexas.com/get-your-own to get the only trip to Texas that matters, yours.
That's traveltexas.com/get-your-own. For 175 years, Gorton's has been committed to spreading the goodness of the sea by making quality seafood accessible to everyone while responsibly sustaining its future.
Over 99% of Gorton's seafood is certified as responsibly sourced.
And Gorton's reached out to us and said, do you want us to send you some of our fish sticks, some of our products, so you can become familiar with it before you speak about it on the podcast? And I was like, Gorton's, I've got you in my freezer right now.
Yeah, you do. You do. Your kids love the fish sticks.
Yes, it's our fave.
Guess what I got? I got the Southern style shrimp. It is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking in the freezer aisle, the Gortons are in the yellow package. They've got the iconic fisherman on the cover. This brand has been around since I was a kid.
Same. Gorton's is actually a brand that's been around for 175 years.
Oh, my gosh.
That's
yes.
so rare. Well, we love Gorton's, and it can help you make your mealtime easy. Visit Gortons.com to learn more, find a store, and get a recipe inspiration.
Whether your resolution is to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three.
Yes, you guys, I love HelloFresh. Jen and I both love it. You know why we love it. And guess what I made the other night?
What?
It was so delicious. I made their pub-style shepherd's pie.
I've made it.
Yes, it's so good. White cheddar and the thyme mashed potatoes.
I know it very well. It's a family favorite.
Well, you know, Josh normally makes dinner, so this was my turn, and I made this, and he loved it. And I was so happy. I was like, I made a shepherd's pie. I'd never made one before.
It's so good. Everyone, you can say hello to your most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients, chef-crafted recipes, all at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door. Go to hellofresh.com/officeladiesfree and use code officeladiesfree for free breakfast for life.
One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/officeladiesfree with code officeladiesfree.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Well, we are back from break, and before we get into Dream Team, I couldn't help but remember the OG Dream Team, Jenna.
Was it basketball?
Yes! Yes! You guys, the 1992 United States men's Olympic basketball team, nicknamed the Dream Team, it was the first American Olympic team to feature active professional players from the National Basketball Association. And the team has been described from journalists around the world as the greatest sports team ever assembled.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, I totally remember that.
Me too.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, you guys. And listen, this is like when I was in school. So when this episode was coming up, whenever I saw the title Dream Team, I just always think.
That's what I think of too.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys think of that, but I just want to read the roster and just a few stats, okay, of this team. All right, the full roster for the 1992 Dream Team was Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Chris Mullin, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson, John Stockton. Then they added 2 players later, Clyde Drexler, and they included one collegiate player, Christian Laettner of Duke University, who was chosen over Louisiana State University's Shaquille O'Neal.
Wow.
Yeah. Head coach was Chuck Daly. Here are some things I thought were fun. The co-captains of the team were Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They were undefeated in the Olympics. Chuck Daly used 0 timeouts for the entire 8 games. Not a single timeout was called, which is wild to me. Larry Bird was the oldest member of the Dream Team, and guess how old he was? He was the oldest member of the Dream Team.
41.
35.
Wow.
That was the old guy. And I thought this was interesting. Guess who led the Dream Team in scoring?
I'm going to admit here that I don't watch basketball.
Okay, well,
and I don't know anything about basketball.
Okay.
So I know these people's names, and I know that they played basketball.
Okay. Well, I would have guessed Michael Jordan.
Who shoots the most?
Wouldn't you have guessed Michael Jordan, Sam, Cassie? Right?
He's a good player.
He's amazing. Watch the Last Dance documentary. Amazing. I would have guessed Michael Jordan, but in fact, it was Charles Barkley, and Michael Jordan came in second.
Oh,
how about them apples? But anyway, when I think of Dream Team, I think of the OG Dream Team. But you know, Jenna, this isn't the only time in the course of our show that we mention the Dream Team.
When else do we mention the Dream Team?
Bonus points if you can guess this.
Dream Team and Meredith.
I mean, I'm assuming it's a party planning thing, but I don't know what episode that's from.
The Dream Team and Meredith is from, some of you out there probably guessed this, season 7, Goodbye Michael.
Oh,
and it was about the party planning committee. It's Angela, Phyllis, and Pam, and then Meredith kind of pops her head in the back.
Are we planning the goodbye party for Michael? Is that what's going to happen?
I think so.
All right.
So, Dream Team, 2 of them in the course of The Office. One is Michael Scott Paper Company, which is Vikram, Pam, Ryan, and Michael. And the other is the Party Planning Committee. Well, let's get into this episode, Jenna, because phones are ringing. Kevin's at reception. It's not going well.
He's trying so hard to transfer these calls. I mean, he's just yelling across the office rather than transfer the calls.
No,
because he can't remember everyone's extension.
And he's sort of yelling personal stuff, like it cracked me up that Oscar's mom was calling.
Yes.
He yelled it across the bullpen.
Well, he is going to try to transfer a call to Andy.
Yeah.
But first, he's going to transfer it to pretty much every other desk in the office. He's going to run around and then transfer it and then transfer it and transfer it.
Yeah, like it goes to Creed and then it goes, he's just running all over the place.
We got a question from Brenda R. in Mexico who wants to know, was Brian really transferring the phone calls on set, or was this some behind the scenes magic. Well, when I would be Pam at the reception desk, they had a list of the real extensions because the phones really worked.
Yeah.
And I would really transfer the calls. But the initial ring would come from somebody behind the scenes. There was a desk with a phone that was also connected to our phones backstage. So there were two options when you wanted to transfer a call. Either you did it for real, or you would just hang up and the person backstage would make another person's phone ring. But that would require them sort of trying to whisper into a walkie-talkie to get them to coordinate all that.
Yeah.
So I always just transferred the calls. I mean, I had my real life receptionist experience.
Yeah.
I got to put it to use.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what Brian did. So I texted him and he said he also really transferred the calls. But he would have to remember the extensions because he was running around. After the first transfer, he couldn't take his slip of paper with him anymore.
Right. Oh my gosh. I still have a photo of all of our transfer numbers that was taped to my phone. I took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Well, in the DVD commentary, Matt Sohn, our camera operator, shared with us that on the day they were filming, Brian was doing the transferring, but they were having some issues with the phones. And so they weren't going to some of the desk clumps they were supposed to. And so Brian actually ended up running around to wherever it was ringing.
So, oh, wow. Yeah. So that mania was a little real. He didn't know where it was going to ring.
I think there's at least one time where it didn't ring where it was supposed to, and he just ran. And Matt said they were just following him.
We had a fan question from Monica in Scranton, Angela, and this one's for you.
Okay.
When Angela yells out, "You're bad at this too," were you implying that Pam is bad at it and so is Kevin, or that Kevin is bad at everything?
Well, first of all, that line is scripted. That was not improv. And I think Angela is just implying that Kevin is horrible at everything. Okay. I actually don't think it's a dig at Pam for once. I think it's more of a dig at Kevin.
We also got a piece of mail from Grace B, who said, "Kevin taught me how to transfer a call. She said she was an office aide in high school. They got a new phone system. She wasn't sure what to do, but she remembered this episode, transfer, extension, transfer, and it worked."
Oh my gosh.
So she says thank you.
You're welcome. Well, in the script, when Kevin finally gets the call to Andy, this was the stage direction. People ad-lib, way to go, all right, applaud, giving Kevin fist bumps. He is very happy. In the background of Andy's talking head, the celebration continues. Kevin shakes up a soda can and opens it.
That's very Dream Team-esque.
I know.
Very sports celebration.
I know.
Well, now Pam is going to arrive for her first day of work.
First day, there's a sign and everything.
I know.
It's official.
I don't know if you noticed her little blazer.
I did.
There was a very big wardrobe discussion before we started this arc. Yes.
For what Pam's I'm a paper salesman outfit is?
Yes. So here's one thing. We originally thought, should she wear a pantsuit? Like kind of a power suit.
So bold, Pam.
But listen to this. In an earlier season, there had been a discussion about if Pam could sometimes wear pants to the office because she had such a uniform of her cardigan and her pencil skirt and everything. And it went all the way up to the network. And the network said Pam must wear pencil skirts. Yeah.
Okay, I have wondered about this, Jenna, and I've never told you this, but for a few episodes, they put Angela Martin in dress pants, and then all of a sudden the pants went away. And so I went to wardrobe and I said, hey, can we bring back the dress pants? Those are so comfortable. And they said, oh, actually, we got a note that they just want you in skirts.
Isn't that interesting?
I did not know you got the same note. I thought that was crazy.
And so we were reminded that I could not wear a pantsuit. We had to keep the pencil skirt. So only thing we could change was the top half of my body.
Who was the brass at the top of NBC that was like, office ladies must wear skirts?
Well, look at Phyllis, always in a skirt. Meredith, always in some kind of jumper.
Kelly,
Jan,
and Nellie.
Skirts. However, Karen always wore pants. I don't think she ever wore a skirt, and I think that sometimes Holly wore pants. Am I right? But mostly it was dresses and skirts. Joe Bennett wore pants, but those were all guest stars. Core cast had to be in skirts, I guess. I don't know. Who was the network brass at the time? Was it the guy from Mad Men? Was Don Draper running the network? Is that who?
Maybe. I feel a soapbox a coming.
No, I'm going to leave it.
I'll leave it. Let's leave it.
Everyone knows it. They heard it. They heard it. It was subtle. It was there. Okay, so bottom line is, here's what we did. I switched out my pantyhose for tights. I'm wearing a little bit more of a heel, bit of a power shoe, and a blazer. So they were little changes, but they did feel impactful. I thought Pam felt a little more polished.
Yeah.
That was our goal. Well, Michael is going to start his first day of work in a bathrobe.
Pam's like, Michael, you were expecting me, weren't you?
He's like, yeah. Yeah, she's like, are you wearing anything under the robe? And he's like, that's inappropriate. He brings her inside, and he actually has set up his dining room sort of office-like. It's nice.
It is nice. I think these are all items he took from the supply chest as he was leaving,
clearly.
And he starts making French toast. A lot of French toast. And there was a deleted Pam talking head where she explains her motivation to join Michael. She steps outside on the patio while he's making French toast. Here it is.
I felt ready for a change. After all these years at Dunder Mifflin, I just wasn't getting the same rush that I used to get from being a receptionist. This feels good. Oh, okay.
The egg won't crack. Yeah, he interrupts her to help him crack eggs.
Pam enjoys her French toast. It was very good. I ate it.
Did you really?
It was delicious. That was just real.
Way to go, prop food.
I know. We had a fan question from Isla H who said who had to make all the French toast. Phil Shea and his team. They made a bunch of French toast. But here's the problem. Michael won't stop making French toast. And Pam realizes it's because he's having some feelings about really getting started in this new company. She tries to get him to stop mixing the eggs, and it ends up spilling eggs all over him.
All over him and into his Crocs.
We got questions about that. People wanted to know, was it real egg in the bowl? Was the line, I have egg in my Crocs, improvised? And people were also curious, how did we do this scene? Because it seems difficult to have the egg go in the same place each time. Well, I will say that Steve did improvise the line, I have egg in my Crocs. It was very hard not to laugh, but it's true. We couldn't get the egg to splash in the same way every time, so I could not laugh because this was a oneer. We would have to use a whole take. We couldn't cut between different takes because the egg would be different.
So much pressure. It's so hard to not laugh with Steve.
I know, but I didn't. But I think you can tell how hard I am trying not to laugh.
You look constipated or something?
Yeah, I do. I look like, you can tell I'm like tensely holding in.
It works though. It just looks like Pam is like watching someone who she thinks is supposed to know what they're doing, who clearly doesn't. She's like, oh crap, what have I gotten myself into?
Well, we did do several takes of this, and it was a big reset every time because we would have to clean up all the eggs in the kitchen. We'd have to clean up all the eggs on Steve. He would have to change his bathrobe. But this one was perfect. This was the time he improvised that line, and the egg just went everywhere. So I also knew as I was standing there, this is the one. Do not mess this up.
Right. So one thing to point out, you guys, which I love about our show, to nerd out on you for a minute, since Steve improvised the line, eggs in my Crocs, that meant our camera operator had to improvise the move to pan down to his feet.
Yes.
That wouldn't have been planned, but that sells the joke.
So good.
Such a great two-hander.
We also had a fan catch in this scene in the kitchen. Sierra G and Lauren W point out that at 4 minutes 31 seconds, there's a sign on his kitchen counter that says his.
Yeah,
but there is no hers.
I saw that too.
And they were like, I guess Jan took the hers when she left.
Or maybe she never even wanted hers out.
Maybe Michael just bought a his.
I think he bought a his, her, and she never put hers out. I don't know. It's sad no matter how it shook out.
Should we go back to the office and see what's happening back there?
Yes, because this was a really fun conference room scene. We were having an absolute blast with Idris. He's holding court the way Michael used to, and he's telling them how things are going to proceed now that they've lost 2 employees. But Kelly and Angela just want to know more about Charles. I love that Kelly's like, where are you staying in Scranton? And he's like, a hotel. And Angela goes, where were you born? Where were you born? It was so fun. It was hard not to laugh. And I want you guys to know, when Andy asks how the operations of the company are going, in the background, I caught Brian out of character. He is clearly just Brian in this moment. If you go to 3 minutes, 2 seconds, it's very subtle, but look at his face. That is Brian and not Kevin. I'm going to show you a picture, Jenna. Because we were just having a great time in this scene. There were all these moments when you didn't know if you were on camera, and sometimes, look at that face.
Oh, that's Brian.
I know.
That's 100% Brian.
He's just trying not to laugh, and he's looking at John.
Well, then we're going to see Phyllis, Creed, and Stanley sort of observing Charles in his office. Charles is on the phone. They're like, does he eat? Does he go to the bathroom? He's a total mystery to them. Jenna, there was more to this. There was a series of talking heads where everyone in the office is sort of commenting on how Charles is a mystery. It starts with Angela Martin. Get ready for some titillated Angela. Charles is a mystery. I wish there was a way I could curl up by the fire with him and flip right to his last page. Okay. I am in love with that phrase. The next time I seduce my husband, I'm going to say, baby, I want to flip right to your last page.
I know,
That's
right?
what he says. I love that.
I thought that was amazing. And then Toby has one, and Toby basically is like, I don't know why everyone thinks Charles is a mystery. If anyone would just come back and talk to me, I can share with you. I have a lot of information about him if anyone just wants to talk to me.
I mean, I'm sure Toby does know where he was born, I guess.
Yeah. And then Jenna, Charles had a really big talking head. He's super relaxed. This is what it said in the script. Charles seems relaxed, his guard down, speaking casually to the camera in a way he never would to his employees.
Oh.
And this is what was in the shooting draft. Mysterious? Just because I show some restraint with my employees when it comes to talking about my personal life doesn't mean there's some big mystery. I grew up in a suburb of DC, middle-class family. My dad was a CPA, went to University of Maryland, studied business, engaged once, childhood friend, didn't work out. Then he shows a picture to the camera. I'll always love her. Then I get my hair cut on the first day of every month, so I remember. There's always less to cut on March 1st. I like sour foods, but I hate grapefruit. Couldn't tell you why, just don't get it. I have a parakeet named Murphy. Trying to teach it to talk. It repeats whatever I say if the thing I say is squawk.
Who is this person?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Those talking heads would have filled out the rest of the story.
I wonder if that talking head exists somewhere.
I don't know. Dave Rogers does it because that is priceless. But the Angela and Toby one are in the deleted scenes on the DVD.
Back at Michael's condo, he is doing some ab exercises.
He is. And Jenna, if you have a camera operator on a DVD commentary, here are some things you'd learn. While Michael's doing his sit-ups, the shot that's on Pam at 4 minutes, 45 seconds, that was Matt Sohn.
Oh,
you were his shot.
Okay.
I don't know. I just love that.
We had a fan question from Gianna W. When Michael is working out at his condo, is that supposed to be the core blaster from the Money episode that he's using? Remember, he spent his money on a core blaster. I think so. I went to the script. It doesn't say specifically, but I was so charmed by the scene description in the script.
Oh, let's hear it.
Here's what it said. Michael is working out on his ab roller incorrectly using no range of motion. That is what I wanted Steve to do. Pam can see that Michael is a little bit spiraling. Is that a good description?
Yeah.
And she says that when she feels overwhelmed, she likes to make a list of things to do and then start with the easy stuff.
I think this is great life advice.
We got mail about that advice.
Oh, no.
And I was really flattered because
people say, this reminds me of Jenna Fisher.
Yeah.
Because I did too. When I rewatched this, I was like, it's a little bit of, what is it again? Life imitating art. Did I get it right? I got it right.
I did. Shannon L. said, Jenna, I know that I don't know you, but when Pam tells Michael he needs to make a list for his day, that sounded like something you would do. And Kayla C. agrees. She said, after listening to every episode of this podcast, I can say with confidence that is the most Jenna thing I've ever heard. I would have to say there are two things on The Office that were 100% me. One is this list-making advice, and the other is my line in dinner party when I say I just want to eat.
Yeah.
Those are me.
You do have a chore list. You also have sort of like your meals planned for the week.
I never wonder about that. I have a plan. I like to know what I'm eating, and I like to check something off a list.
You really do.
I really do.
When we went on our writer's retreat, I learned very quickly that you need to know what you're eating. Like, that is no joke. I would be like, what should we do for dinner? You'd be like, I already brought stuff that we're doing this night. And I'm like, oh, okay.
We had 2 HelloFresh nights and a takeout night. And then I said we bring our own breakfast and lunch and snacks.
Done. This was one of the first emails you sent to me when we were going to go on our writer's retreat. It wasn't about our work.
No.
It's about the meals.
Let's plan our food, and then we'll come up with a work plan. I mean, I can't work on an empty stomach. No, I cannot.
Well, one of the first things on Pam's list is let's just start small. Let's get you dressed, Michael.
Yeah. And then there's that moment where he sits in the chair across from her and his robe opens up. Go to season 5 bloopers on YouTube. Jenna.
And Monday as well. It's 57 right now in La Palma, 55 in Tustin, and there's a crash on the 10 in Pomona. Traffic eastbound right at Fairplex Drive, looking like good news now. It's been cleared out of the middle lane, so your drive is recovering from about Kellogg. As you make your way northbound on the 57 in Brea, you're seeing brake lights just after Conner Canyon. You're slowly crawling from there until you make your way past the 60. And a busy ride if you're on the 91 eastbound in Anaheim Hills. Approaching Lakeview, that drive stays pretty slow up until you get to Green River Road. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno.
Moments like my daughter telling me a new joke mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, it means even more. I think Ibrance helps us live. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal.
And then we'll come up with a work plan. I mean, I can't work on an empty stomach. No, I cannot.
Well, one of the first things on Pam's list is let's just start small. Let's get you dressed, Michael.
Yeah. And then there's that moment where he sits in the chair across from her and his robe opens up. Go to season 5 bloopers on YouTube. Jenna, I don't even know how you salvaged anything from that scene. Matt Stone even talked about it in the DVD commentary. He was like, Jenna kept breaking up. She laughed every time. So Steve was wearing underwear. He was not nude.
They were like flesh toned, right?
Yes, exactly. But on the day, we had this idea that Pam would keep talking to him, but she would just move her little clipboard up so that she wouldn't have to see him.
His business.
Yes. But every time I did the gesture to move my clipboard up, it would make me laugh. Like the idea of it, all of it, it was one of those moments where I couldn't stay focused because I could see it from the outside and it was just so tickled me. It was such a funny moment. And Steve never broke. Steve could just keep a straight face. And then I would get to a point where I couldn't go on and they'd be like, okay, cut. But Steve would just be like, what? Well, what is it?
I was going to play the blooper, but when I rewatched it, Jenna, you're laughing so hard you're making no sound.
I know.
So if I played it, it'd just be like,
yes, it's true.
While we're in this moment, I would love to point out some stuff in the background.
Please.
There is a shelf of Dundies behind Michael during the scene. Also, you probably noticed all of the inspirational posters all over the condo. I did count, though, 10 Dundies. Let me know if you guys got the same amount. 10 Dundies plus a no right turn, no left turn, and no U-turn sign.
Oh,
during this scene.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you noticed this. I did not notice it at first, but luckily, Floor H wrote in to say there are 2 television sets in Michael's condo.
Well, there's a big box one, and then there's the little one.
Yes. So you can really see it at 7 minutes, 29 seconds. He has bought himself a new TV, but he has not taken down the broken plasma. So it's like the new television is sitting on a TV stand. It's your standard square TV.
It's much bigger, by the way, than the little mounted one on the wall.
Yes, and it sits right under that broken one. But here's the thing, Michael is actually going to come up with some good ideas for today. He says they should assemble a dream team, starting with Vikram.
Yeah, he was the best seller at the telemarketing company.
Pam's like, oh, okay. And he reveals that they're going to have a meeting with a potential investor. But first, we need to get Michael dressed.
Well, back at the office, Andy has put on his computer sort of like a montage of soccer moments, right?
Like a soccer photo slideshow.
Exactly. Charles sees it. He loves soccer. Andy is clearly sucking up to Charles. I actually remember us talking about soccer, and Idris plays soccer.
Really?
Yes. He's like a good soccer player. He like played growing up. He like played on like a soccer league on the weekend. So he actually knew a lot about soccer.
Well, he's British. Football.
Football. Yes. What am I saying? Football. Jim has this talking head about how he's just never been a kiss up. You know, that's just not how he operates.
Mm-hmm.
And BJ talked a little bit about his own experience for this Jim Andy suck up storyline. Let's hear it.
You subscribe to the idea. This is based in my mind on an experience when I felt I had too much integrity to kiss up in a situation where I really wanted to impress people, and I saw everyone else kissing up and getting ahead. Man, I should just go up there, you know. So I like the idea of a guy who does it, who just says screw it, like I'm going to do this because this is how you get ahead, and maybe I'm being lazy by not kissing up, and then it comes back to bite him. But I liked a good guy like Jim deciding to do it.
Interesting,
right? I just love that BJ takes moments like that and then puts it into his episodes.
Mm-hmm. No, he reflects on things in the moment and they stay with him. He's a very thoughtful person in that way.
Yeah.
Well, Jim is going to suck up by pretending like he played soccer or is a soccer player.
I know. There's this moment where he's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then he just succumbs and was like, yeah, I'm a player. And Dwight could not be happier. He's like, oh, really, Jim? I have never heard you talk about soccer. And he's like, you should play Charles, the two of you, today.
And Charles is all about it. He's like, yes, I would love it. And Charles's whole demeanor changes toward Jim, toward everyone in the office. He's this very sort of smiley guy all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's a big difference. Well, now Jim's going to be in a big pickle. He said he played soccer from 2nd to 4th grade. He was on the orange team.
I love that talking head. I do too. It made me laugh. Well, listen, I think we should take a break because in the second half of the episode, we are going to see this dream team get assembled and we're going to see Jim have to deal with his soccer promise. It's good stuff.
All right.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
You know, around New Year's, we all reflect and people really start making lists of what they can do to be their best self for the next year.
Yes, I think, the new year definitely makes you think New Year's resolution. What do I want to change?
New year, new me, that kind of thing.
Yes, but perhaps this year we could be reflecting on what we're already doing right.
Yeah.
And therapy can help you figure out your strengths so that you can ditch this idea that you need some extreme change or this extreme New Year's resolution and just, you can make changes that really stick because they're based on your strengths.
I like that.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try.
It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/OfficeLadies today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OfficeLadies. Let's talk a little bit about hydration in the new year, particularly about liquid IV. Angela, you turned me on to this, and I'm going to have to give you props.
Oh, thanks.
It's pretty great. You told me that you use this when you travel to stay better hydrated, and I started doing the same thing.
Whenever we go on a road trip, it's like I don't want to drink too much water because then I'll have to pee. And then I find myself so dehydrated. So I use this.
Well, I like it for hikes. Here's what it is. You get a little packet and you put it in your water. And then you are going to get 3 times the electrolytes of a leading sports drink plus 8 vitamins and nutrients.
I feel like it's so awkward.
It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. It is perfect for daily use before a workout or when you feel run down or after a long night out, hint, or even on really long flights.
Rehydrate yourself for the new year. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use code OfficeLadies at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code OfficeLadies at liquidiv.com. We are back, and you guys, the dream team got Vikram. We got him. Vikram, played by the awesome Ranjit Chowdhury.
He was so fun to work with. You know, he passed away last year.
I know.
He was so funny. We're in the car, and, you know, Michael's all excited. They pull up to the bowling alley. Michael's like, I have to use the bathroom. And Vikram has this line. It's so good, where he says, confidence, it's the food of the wise man, but the liquor of the fool. I was so struck by this when I watched this episode.
Me too.
So I Googled it because I thought, is that like an old, I don't know, expression, proverb, like a Greek philosopher? No. It's nowhere. There are Reddit threads dedicated to trying to figure out where this line came from. There was an article written about this one line and how wise it is, and how the writer of the article couldn't find its origin either. Someone on our writing staff wrote that line.
And we don't know who?
I asked BJ, I asked Mindy, I asked Aaron Schur. No one can take credit for it. Aaron Schur said something that I really liked. He said, I don't know, let's give credit to the whole writing staff, like some sort of collective genius came up with this line. But someone wrote that from the office. And it's so good.
And then last week we talked about Vikram having this amazing talking head
that got deleted.
This is where it would have lived, you guys. Right after the scene in the car where he says this amazing proverb, he would have said, when you put your telemarketing career on the line, you're not putting much on the line. And Ranjit was just perfection. Everything.
So
his delivery. I couldn't get enough of him.
Well, you just so believe him.
Yeah.
And our guest actors were always that way. Allison Jones had this amazing ability to find people who didn't seem like they were acting at all.
Yeah.
Well, Michael is going to go into the bowling alley. He wants a pair of 9 shoes. Guess who's working the counter?
Ryan, who's not on the list.
You know, Vikram has this great line in the car where he's like, he's been gone a long time. Is it possible he went bowling?
You know him better than I do. And I thought, Jenna, your delivery as Pam was so great when you're like,
yeah. So Pam goes in and sees what's happening and says, this was not on the list, Michael. And then she looks at the list and then she's like, when did you put this on the list?
I loved that. We noticed right away that Ryan is very tan and very blonde. I was really curious, when did BJ know he was going to have to do this with his hair? This is what he said on the DVD commentary.
So when I was in Germany and wasn't able to be on the show for a while, my character ran off to Thailand. All I knew about Ryan coming back was that he was going to be blonde.
Now the tan is great too.
The tan is very funny. I heard of the hair's frosted tips, and then when we did it, Mindy, whose idea it was, came and was like, no, we're only going to go for this joke once. You have to be completely blonde. And so we dyed it, and I wore a hat in public for weeks trying to save the surprise and save my dignity.
And he goes on to say that he was also touring stand-up during this time. So he got a spray-in brown coloring, you know, that you could dye. And so he sprayed his hair brown, and then he went on stage, and it started coming off, like dripping off,
like what happened to Rudy Giuliani. Oh my God. Same thing.
Yes. Exactly. So he had to wear this hat, but it was like really stressful. He was trying to keep it a secret.
I've used that spray for when my roots are coming in. It's genius. I love the spray, by the way. Yeah, it's great. But if you get really warm, it will sweat off.
Yeah.
Beware.
Where are we?
I'll give you a little location breakdown on the bowling alley. Idle Hour Lanes, which is the sign out sign, is a real bowling alley in Scranton. We matched their logo. And in Scranton, there's two, and one of them is next to Poor Richard's.
Yes, I've been to that one.
I thought you had.
It's part of the bar, kind of. Like when you go into Poor Richard's, you think, at least I thought I was walking into a bar, but I actually was walking into a bowling alley, and then the bar was to the right.
It's interesting. I thought that we were at Pickwick Bowl, which does have a bar next to it, sort of similar to the real Idle Hour Lanes, but no. Randy Cordray said that we shot ours in Canoga Park. It was a bowling alley in Canoga Park. I also have a little guest star shout out to the bowling alley manager who calls Ryan a shoe bitch. He was played by Jim Woods. He has appeared on How I Met Your Mother, Reno 911, and was a regular on the comedy satire Safety Geeks, SVI. Again, another person who did not seem like an actor to me. Yeah, seemed like a real grouchy bowling alley manager.
Exactly. There was some delicious Pam sass, because, I mean, Pam just does not like Ryan. When he tells her he makes $60,000 a year, and she's like, really? They pay you a yearly salary at the bowling alley? Yeah, so good. Well, the dream team is going to arrive to meet their investor.
That's right. It's at what appears to be a nursing home.
Can I tell you there was a beat in the script where Michael describes who the investor is?
Okay.
He says her name is Barbara Kivas. She invests in local businesses, and I've been putting together a little presentation for her.
Oh,
but that didn't make it in the episode, but I'm like, okay, who's Barbara Kivas?
I've got a location breakdown on where we shot this. Oh, which is interesting to me. It was a Best Western hotel that was attached to the bowling alley, and we redressed their conference room to look like a nursing home. Randy Cordray said that our location manager, Kyle Alexander, was really awesome, that he would do this kind of thing all the time. If we had an episode that had two locations, he would somehow manage to find them right next to each other so that we could avoid having to do what they call a company move.
Right, where you have to move all the trailers, all the people, all the equipment, save so much time and money.
We were able to shoot the bowling alley and the nursing home all in one day. It saved so much money. It saved so much time. And Randy was just giving a lot of compliments to Kyle, saying that Kyle was able to do this all the time, and it was a huge, huge benefit to our production.
Amazing.
And it was a benefit on a very practical level because it would save the time, which also wouldn't run down the crew as much. And it also made it so that the actors, we could like flow from one experience sort of emotionally in the story and comedically right into another one. We didn't have to stop. It was awesome on many levels.
Kyle, we love you.
Thank you, Kyle.
I want to point out, right as the dream team is entering the retirement home, at 12 minutes, was it just me? Did anyone else notice the two, like, retirement home employees wheeling someone in a blanket? I don't know, like, was it a corpse under a blanket?
Oh my God, I did not notice that.
I mean, I went over and over to it, just like I couldn't stop looking at it. I was like, who is this back there? I'm going to show you, Jenna. It's so brief. But look, I don't know, this person's like on a cot or a stretcher. Do you see?
Yes!
I'll put it in stories. My other background catch for this scene is at 12 minutes, 27 seconds. The elderly gentleman that Michael is like snapping, like, hey, over here. He is watching Maury Povich.
Yes.
And it's actually Maury Povich.
That was scripted that he was watching Maury Povich.
And they were able to get the rights to it.
Yes.
And on the screen, if you zoom in, there's a woman and there's a chyron underneath her with like writing.
Yeah.
This is what it said. Tell the truth. Is my fiance in love with my mom?
Oh,
that's what they were watching.
Okay. Well, Michael is going to make his pitch to this investment club. And it's a real club. There's 3 people, 2 women, and the man who's watching Maury. But Pam and Ryan realize very quickly that one of the women is Michael's Nana.
Yeah, it's not just Barbara Kivas. It's Nana.
It's Nana. During this pitch, he's going to start by introducing his team.
BJ said he loved that he got the title in the episode.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of a fun thing when that happens. So Michael's like, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the dream team.
Did you notice at 13 minutes, 20 seconds, when Michael is introducing Ryan, that he winks at Nana while eating vanilla pudding in like a flirty way, and Nana is delighted. I know. I mean, he's buttering her up in the best way.
Ryan is a hot mess. BJ said, by the way, that he ate a ton of vanilla pudding and that it was delicious.
I love a vanilla pudding. I also want to point out that at 13 minutes, 41 seconds, there is a big zit on my jawline. No, this is the only time you see it, because at 14 minutes, 46 seconds, the zit is gone. So clearly, I got a touch up.
Only you would notice that. I did not notice that.
It's so large. It's one of those undergrounders.
Oh, yeah.
That is, had its own heartbeat.
Say no more, girl.
And I would get those on my jawline.
Say no
But
more, girl.
thank you, Laverne, for covering that up by 14 minutes, 46 seconds. And by the way, I can imagine, because they almost never let us get touch-ups after we started rolling, I can imagine Laverne sitting at the monitors and just being like, you need to let me get in there. You need to let me get in there. And so she probably convinced them, and she was able to come in and touch up my zit. But you do see it at 13 minutes, 41 seconds.
Do you know what was super embarrassing? And this would happen every once in a while. What is when, like, someone like Matt, sound camera operator, would be like, you would hear him sort of radio, hey, why don't you step in? Yeah, it's because he is looking at it through the camera.
That's true.
That happened to me one time. I definitely had like one big one on my forehead, and Matt was like, I think we should get a little powder for you. I'm like, oh my God, Matt!
Well, have you know, the woman in this investment group who wants to give Michael the money was played by Eve Segal. Eve has appeared in Shameless, Superstar, Dead to Me, and Legion. I was not able to figure out who played the gentleman. It was a non-speaking role, so he was a background performer, so he is uncredited as far as I can find. But in the end, Nana is going to say no. Nana says, this is an investment club. We're not about handouts here. And so she's a no.
In the car ride leaving there, Vikram made me laugh because he's like, Nana brought up some good points.
I know. And then he's like, what kind of name is Nana? And Pam's like, it means grandmother. And then Vikram is like, I'm out. He's like, sweet goodbyes.
At Dunder Mifflin, the soccer game is about to be underway. There was a deleted Dwight talking head. He is sitting up the whole parking lot. He's drawing chalk.
I wondered how it got there.
Yeah, the cones. Yeah, a talking head while Dwight's doing this. And he shares one of his childhood dreams. Can we hear that?
When I was a child, I always dreamed of being a referee, penalizing people, enforcing the rules. But I never could have dreamed of this.
Wow, he would have been a great referee, actually.
Yeah.
Very quickly, we see that the group of Dunder Mifflin employees, they don't know anything about soccer. In the deleted scenes, there was a moment where Creed picks up the soccer ball and throws it at Kelly's back like dodgeball. And he's like, you're out.
Oh. Well, this is interesting because we got a piece of mail from Kyle T, who wanted to know, how long did you guys have to play soccer? Did you have any training, or did they just let you guys go crazy? Was any of it choreographed? You were there. I mean, obviously the stunt that's coming up was choreographed, but the other stuff, was it just kind of free form?
Yeah, we could just sort of like fart around in the background.
Okay.
I did ask for sneakers, so I'm in sneakers. I thought Angela Martin might have taken it very seriously.
Sure.
So I'm in my sneakers. And then I actually caught a moment in the background that I kind of vaguely remember, because it was that art imitating life, life imitating art, whatever. Phyllis actually did get hit with the ball.
What?
When we were just horsing around.
And you can see it?
It's very subtle in the background. It
Hit where?
I think up in her upper torso. Not hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that we were kicking around back there. If you go to 19 minutes, 28 seconds, tell me what you see. It was Creed. Creed, which is no surprise to me because Creed would sometimes get a little crazy with props. So I did a slow motion screen play-by-play, okay, that I will put in our stories. If my memory is correct, it didn't hurt, but she did get hit with the soccer ball, and we were like, oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the beginning of the ball. Okay, coming from Creed.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow, it's high.
Yeah. Next frame, see where it's headed?
Right to her face.
I know, Phyllis in the red sweater.
Ironically.
Then you kind of see her bending over. And then
I see what looks like some people running to her aid.
Yeah, Ed. You see the ball sort of hitting right there.
Yeah.
Her red, it looks like her shoulder maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There it makes contact. And then here you kind of see her face.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of bending to the side. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Phyllis did get hit with the ball in the episode where she gets hit with the ball.
Yes, and so did Kelly. A lot of people getting hit with the ball.
Well, we did also get some fan mail. People wanted to know, did Phyllis perform her own stunt?
Now, this is totally separate, guys. You know, what I just showed you was not a scripted moment.
Here's what happens. There's this moment where Charles is going to kick the ball super hard toward Jim, and Jim ducks, and Phyllis gets clocked in the face. And everybody is like, Jim, why did you duck?
Yeah, Dwight's like, Jim, why did you duck? An experienced soccer player wouldn't duck.
First of all, I will tell you that there was no soccer ball used in this particular shot. Idris was kicking air, and Phyllis faked getting hit. It is an amazing fakey hit.
Yes.
Randy Cordray told me that we added the soccer ball using CGI magic. It was the folks at Stargate International. Randy actually said, I dare say it's one of the most effective uses of CGI that The Office ever incorporated. I mean, it looks totally real. Big applause to John for his fakey seeing of the ball and ducking. I mean, all of it all works.
And then Phyllis is like, I think I swallowed a crown.
I know. We also got a fan mail flurry.
What about
Jim ducking?
Oh, is this a soccer fan mail flurry? Like soccer?
Yeah. People coming to Jim's defense.
Oh.
I bet I could.
So Ashley T said, I don't understand how Jim got blamed for this soccer ball hitting Phyllis in the face. Charles is the one who kicked it. It's clearly Charles's fault because I would have ducked too. Joseph F. said, listen, I get it that maybe an experienced soccer player shouldn't have ducked, that they should have jumped up and intercepted the ball with their chest.
Yeah.
However, Charles crossed the ball toward the side, in which case Jim and any other professional player would have ducked.
Really? Because what, then the ball goes out? And
I guess so.
Oh.
Yeah. So a fan mail flurry, lots of people commenting that Jim was not wrong for ducking. I do not know enough about soccer to comment.
I don't either, even though I live on a soccer field every single Saturday with our kids. Like, we're always there. And my husband played soccer and he's coaching soccer. I should have asked Josh about it.
Lee is coaching both of our kids' soccer teams this year.
I know, both of our husbands are soccer coaches this year.
Yeah, and I just sit there and I'm just trying to figure out offsides.
I'll never figure it out.
Get it?
I'll never figure it out.
I don't think the kids get it.
No.
The referees call it. I don't get it.
I don't ever get it. I'm like, what happened? Offsides? What?
Listen, I've said in this episode that I don't know much about basketball. That's true. I don't know a lot about soccer. But talk to me about like hockey, football,
You're
or
very
baseball.
well versed in hockey. I don't
I'm
get
like
hockey.
into those sports. A live hockey game, there's nothing like it. I think it's the best sport to watch live. Personally, I know people love watching basketball live.
I mean, watching basketball live, especially if you can get close to the court, it's like an amazing game live.
I just love the whole hockey community. I love everything about it.
I went one time and met some of your hockey mom friends.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know, you guys, is that hockey games, they serve beer at 10 in the morning.
They do.
I was like, oh my gosh.
They sure do.
We have like juice boxes at soccer.
I remember going to like one of our early hockey games for my son, and it was at 7:30 in the morning, and I brought a coffee, and people were like, does anyone want a beer from the concessions? And I was like, okay, don't think so, but thank you. Pretty amazing. Well, listen, the Dream Team has lost a member, and they get back to Michael's condo. Ryan's going to run inside. He wants to watch The Closer on TNT.
Very important to him.
Pam's upset she can't get out of the car. Now Pam's going to spiral.
So guess what? It was not in the script that you stayed in the car.
I remember.
It was Jen Salata's idea. And she fought for it to have Pam stay in the car during this scene.
Yeah, I was supposed to get out of the car and then sort of, the idea was lean against it. And part of that was because it would be really easy to stage it camera-wise.
Yeah. Well, I loved her staying in the car, and I love this shot at 16 minutes, 22 seconds when you see Pam in the side mirror and Michael standing next to the car. It's such a cool shot.
I had to bring a lot of emotion to this scene. You had to see Pam be convinced by Michael. And this is one of those moments when Michael becomes really good at being a boss.
And he's so serious. He's like, listen, kiddo.
Yeah.
You quit. I quit. So that's the truth.
It was very easy to get emotional because to have Steve Carell say, listen, kiddo, I mean, I know he wasn't much older than us, but he did always have sort of like a wise
He was our mentor.
Yeah, like exactly. And so to have your mentor coach you, it felt real, you know, and it made me emotional. And we just really connected there in a real way, and it was really sweet. I just love those Pam Michael moments. It reminds me of when he came to her art show and he shows up for her.
Yeah.
And it was great. Well, next we're going to see Michael on the phone, and he's asking Billy Merchant if he has any free office space anywhere, because they can't work out of Michael's condo anymore. They're going to throw him out. They got a letter, and Billy says, I got something for you.
It's like a supply room maybe, but there's also like a shower.
It's also